Welcome to Trader TV Live. Futures starting out the morning here in negative territory in this holiday shortened week, with the NQ just a little bit below half a percentage point in negative territory. Likewise with the ES, a little bit over 1/4%, losing that 69.75 area. The Dow down 0.11, with the Russell 2000 down 1/3%. But there's oil almost up 2.5% as the situation in Europe continues to develop, with President Zelensky meeting with President Trump over the weekend. Gold and silver both pulling back just a little bit after making all-time highs last week, and Bitcoin continues to trade within the range between the mid-80s and the low 90s. Good morning, Adair. What are some of the headlines?
I think one of the biggest things we have to talk about here is, of course, that gold and silver pullback. Again, as Sharif mentioned, nice week last week as we had some geopolitical tensions. Now, as we get this Russia-Ukraine situation continuing to develop, we see a little bit of a drop in these names. I want to talk as well about Coupang, more updates with that data breach, including how the company intends to mitigate the situation. We also have, of course, Waymo trying to get into London. We actually have a video on YouTube suggesting that they're starting to test vehicles there now. Amazon with some drone updates here in Italy. And then I also really quickly want to mention as well, of course, some stories here with Tesla and Nvidia. So lots of large companies to keep an eye on today.
There's a whole lot to talk about, guys, on this holiday shortened week. Good morning.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Not so good. Not so good if you were...
I think it was okay for them, because it doesn't really matter that much, does it? I mean, if they won, they could still win the division. Is that what it was?
It wasn't a huge deal. You just want to see if you can win a big.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Because me and Patriots won. You know, I'm a Bills fan, everybody. Welcome back. But Josh Allen tried his absolute best, and the team usually crap in the first half and then do it all in the second half. It's the same old story.
Yeah.
But it's not the same old story for the market here when you really think about it. Because if we look at what's really going on, it was like we're just weak all around. Like, you're slightly off highs in the future. Pretty much every tech stock is gap down without too much of a story. Silver and gold and all the metals are pretty much gap down. Bitcoin was a disaster over the weekend. I mean, disaster is probably the wrong word, but it was nasty in terms of a turnaround.
Well, Bitcoin got up all the way up there.
Oh, yeah,
I didn't realize
we
that.
got over 90,000.
When you said that, I was like 87.5. I thought that's what it was last time.
Come to my chart for a second.
Yeah.
Disaster. Like, the way I see it, like, it had gone over 90,000 and then right back underneath. So everything's just like gently weak, at least most things. So we'll see if this Santa Claus rally can buy the dip, let's just say, especially the metals, because they've been rallying so hard. Like, I wasn't here on Friday, but if you looked at silver, it was just like another day at the office, and we're down about 4% right now on SLV. So yeah, I mean, there's going to be some things to watch here, but slight weakness overall in the market. A little bit of a hangover, it seems.
Yeah, I bet this is just happening in the last little while here. I mean, as of this chart started at that was that's obviously 4 o'clock, but we just had a nice little move right there at 7. 49.60 on IBIT all the way down to 49.20 and right back up. Okay, so that's interesting. I didn't actually notice that it went up that high. Tesla right now down 1 and a bit percentage points, so that'll be something to look at as well. Tesla coming up to a make it or break it spot right here again, trying to gap back down below here after we just tested all-time highs again at $5. So we'll have to wait for Tesla. And then the hot stock of the day on Friday, of course, was Nvidia. I have SLV written down on here. It's the only one so far that I have. But yeah, Nvidia on Friday, what a hot stock that was, breaking early. We had that 190.50 break on the pre-market straight to the upside, and then the rest of the day, that trade kind of carried us until we finally made the highs back at 192.50. Now you're pulling back another 1% down on Nvidia. So yeah, it feels like the market is going to take a little bit of a sleeping, a little bit of a break here, I guess. Take a little bit of a rest, as it's had a busy time. Going upside there, heading on Friday. I mean, this is what the Nasdaq looks like on a daily chart. I mean, it's an absolute monster. They're all huge. The S&P up 20% this year. The Nasdaq trying to catch up with that move as well. So we'll see. I mean, up to 630. I don't think we probably don't get going too much today. Nasdaq down 1%. So I could see us sort of floating around. Remember, this is we should have Michael coming up soon. But remember, this whole Santa Claus rally thing it didn't work the last couple years, and I don't want to play it long today just because of that reason. We got to make sure that we have the right stocks on the right look right there. So today it's looking a little short. to me. And then everyone's worried about silver because everyone went home on Friday, probably long silver, expecting for a little bit of an extension there. I don't think we're dead in the water at all. I mean, this is a huge move up, just a little bit of a pullback. I mean, does it suck? Yes, but silver went up 10 or 11% on Friday. You know, that's going to be a little euphoric, you know. Not too much use case there for gold. We've talked about them being potentially a store of value, which is why it's going up. Silver, a little bit more on the use case side for industrial, but still, nice move up for silver. I'm actually going to be looking short if we get around the 69.50 to 70 area right into here. So we'll see if silver can give us a little bit of a bump up, and then we go short. But yeah, not too much of a Santa Claus rally here, starting with today, but we'll see. If you can pick it up. It's still very early, man.
Unless you're talking
about your favorite stock is
talking about Mask. Because after all of that nonsense and fun that was had by a lot of you in the chat with regards to Mask, it's actually moving for once. So believe it or not, every time people in the chat today type in $MASK, maybe it's not going to be a troll. Maybe it'll actually be something that's moving. I would caution, however, while the volume is good on Mask, the news on was it Friday, I guess, they had an offering.
Sure. Okay.
Not necessarily like the biggest news in the world, and it's already starting to come back. Like you're under VWAP here already. It's done over 30 million shares, so volume's fine. Just be cautious with this because there's no discernible. I don't see a big story. I'll have to look again to see if there's anything larger than just the Friday catalyst. Oh, actually, that stuff was like 2 Fridays ago. So there's really nothing going on with Mask. And it's under VWAP. I'd be a little bit concerned with this. And then remember, this is what this thing looks like overall. Like there hasn't been an actual healthy bump that was sustained in this stock for quite some time. Even any time it's done some kind of a move up, it's been immediately reverted. So I'd be very, very cautious with Mask. But for now, it's one of the volume leaders out there for sure. So you can have some fun with it. We'll see if it passes Sharif's eye test of holding VWAP throughout the day. Right now, it is not. But Mask, Sharif, finally, it's moving.
It's always a good day, Neil, when there's a small cap gap removing. Let's just hope it holds up into the midday show. As some of these, you know, they typically give up the ghost pretty quickly. Where is this thing trading at? Oh no, Neil, it's south of $1. That puts it on the probation list. They're trying to break through $0.33, but a nice move up, 45% and going. We're going to keep an eye out on this. Let's talk a little Tesla supplier contract as a result of some weak Cybertruck demand. So out in South Korea, where Tesla had been sourcing a lot of its cathode supply for the Tesla Cybertruck, the South Korean company there called L&F Company, they disclosed that their deal with Tesla was reduced by about 99%. The company cited a change in supply quantity in its regulatory filing, effectively nullifying what was once a major multi-year deal. So the contract there was for high nickel cathode material. It was intended for Cybertruck batteries, but because the lack of demand, they've had to cut down this contract substantially.
Yeah, that's a pretty significant cut there. And according to Bloomberg, only minimal material was actually delivered because these Cybertruck production timelines did repeatedly slip. We know that Cybertruck demand has been a concern. Apparently, we're seeing that weaker than expected adoption has actually pushed buyers away from the Cybertruck and towards Model 3 and Model Y. So it also does reduce the need for these specialized battery materials. So interesting story here, very specific to that one model, it looks like.
Yeah. Interesting addition as well, guys. Apparently, some of the supply reduction was because the subsidies that were being given, under the Inflation Reduction Act passed by the previous administration, they've been removed, which has weakened the economy for certain battery supply chains. In any event, I think this story just talks to the Cybertruck weakness and Tesla sales. What's the look?
Yeah, is anyone really that surprised with weakness with the Cybertruck? I don't know. Like I feel like it never really had as much hype as. Well, you know what? I don't recall seeing that much hype around it at all. Like I see them on the road every now and then, and it's a bit of a novelty kind of thing. It's like, oh, there's the Cybertruck, and don't get me wrong, like, there's certain aspects about it. It's cool, it's durable. I thought there might have been like better like military applications down the line, but at the end of the day, I think we've gotten past, at least when it comes to Tesla, taking any bad news when it comes to demand, and not freaking out about it. That said, it could feel a little bit different in the range that we're at today, because you could almost call like the turnaround at 500 complete. at least we're looking for a bottom after that. Like, I think it was pretty definitive looking at the last couple of weeks here. You got to 5 bills, and look at the rejection after that 500 test. It was 3 days in a row of attempting to break 490 and failing, and attempting to break 490 and failing. Like, look at the moves. Like, you're not, like, there was pretty much almost, outside of silver, like, what was moving this dramatically off of the open the last couple of sessions? Like, Tesla has done more than $10 to $15 drops, straight shot, no green candles when it fails the 490 level. So it seems to me like that 500, test and fail, we're through all of that and essentially looking for the bottom, the temporary bottom. The gap fill here puts you 460 to 463. So I think this area going all the way back to the 12th, so a couple of Fridays ago, I think that's where you're going to look for some support, maybe even the 465. Yeah, Tesla's just settling in. You have to remember, like, despite those crazy days, like, it looks real bad when you just sort of zoom in and look at all that selling. Yeah, the day trade, obviously, these are shorts, and you don't want to catch that falling knife. But when you zoom it out a little bit further, you've really just held this big consolidation up top, testing 500, holding 460. So unless you break down under 460, it's just Tesla trying to find a new bottom after pressing those highs. So yeah, I don't think we're going to see that $500 level breached this year. It's pretty unlikely, but it just puts it off a little bit.
Yeah, we're a little bit running out of time, I think, right now for this year. But I asked last night, were we bullish or bearish for this week ahead? And it was 71%. We had 300 votes or so. 71% bull and 30%. I'm gonna put this in here, see if we can get some more votes going on right there. So into this week, it looks like the majority of you, quite a nice majority, are looking forward to a bullish week. And if that was the case, and I think this, Tesla's one of the names that should be able to get going. It's trying to, like we said, it's just trying to fill this gap right there. I'm not, some of these stories are what they are. We've already moved forward with the fact that this is not to be concerned with too much with their car business. Obviously, this is the Cybertruck, but it all fits in the same thing. We do have a dying industry right now for EVs. It's crazy to say that because I feel like, the switch is over to EVs, but as far as profitability is concerned, there isn't much to see in this space. So yeah, it sucks to have this hit come through, and I don't think we expected it today for Tesla, but what a dramatic move it was on Monday. Today's Monday, on Friday there for Tesla. So yeah, I think we could see some more of this happening today. I'll be shorting around the closing price if we can get back up there. That is where the 200 period moving average is. And again, in a day like today, when you have lack of catalysts, I mean, there's not a whole bunch going out there. We obviously will keep talking about silver as it goes. I mean, everybody in the chat is all about that silver trade. So we'll look at this today for sure. But other than that, man, I mean, we're looking for reasons to trade something. And if Tesla's going to be down 1%, then the market's kind of making a decision for me. I think we're going to be short Tesla, at least if it comes back up into Friday's close, right there at 475. So yeah, I like the stock, but I don't love it today. I would rather go long everything if possible, but Rivian's been another name that's gotten now about 4 or 5 straight down days. We have to watch out for this as well down here at $20. Let's see if Rivian can hold 20. That's a decent area for me to look today. If we continue this move down in Tesla, does Rivian get hit for some reason there? I mean, they shouldn't on that story about the Cybertruck, but Rivian down to $20 looks pretty nice to me down there as well. So yeah, a lot of people saying that they want to hold on to that silver trade. We'll have a quick look at that as well. I see David has a super chat in there. We can get to that. I have no idea what it is. I haven't looked yet.
There we go.
Here we go. 8 a.m. Yeah, thank you for joining us, by the way, at 8 a.m. now. Is that where we're starting? So what does it say here, Neil?
It looks like you're rarely up this early, but you are now. But 8 a.m., 9 Eastern, someone like tried to bust through 90K on Bitcoin, you mean, and ETHA. No luck. That buyer may come back. Eyes on YQBTS bucking the other quantum. This is my kind of day. Definitely, look, we'll talk about crypto for sure. I think that 90K level has been a bit of a problem, but don't overlook 88 thou on Bitcoin as well, which would be like 50 on IBIT. I think if you don't get through that, then I think you probably make a run at that 90. But as far as QBTS, it's D-Wave. that you're asking about. Let me see, let's double check here because I didn't see a story.
No luck with that buyer may
D-Wave.
come back on ETHA. Okay, eyes on YQBTS.
No, there's no catalyst that I've seen specifically for QBTS. Its volume is decent enough. It's decent enough here. Like it's about 800,000, which compared to some of the other things you see this morning on a holiday shortened week, it's actually not that bad. But there's nothing specific to QBTS. And I know it's up 1.5%, but that's like a barely up. And when you put it in the context of the move on Friday, it's not like it's that crazy of a gap to the upside. And then you pull up Rigetti, like essentially it's just it's a gap on no volume. Like they both have similar weak charts in here. I would argue Rigetti probably a little bit weaker, kind of breaking through those, almost flat bottom breaking. 21 breakdown on Rigetti could be pretty interesting, actually, now that I look at that. No, but there's no story that I was able to find on D-Wave, but it's been slightly stronger than at least Rigetti lately. Like it's been making some higher lows where Rigetti's making the same bottom. So it could just be that it already has a little bit more built-in strength. Would be my guess. That's why it's not gapping down. But there's no specific story as to why it's up. And it's only up 1.5%, which for these stocks, that's effectively nothing. Like 1.5% on QBTS is basically a flat day. When this thing moves, you can see it's going to really move.
All right. Yeah, we can. Thank you for that, David, for sure. We'll check out some quantum names. I mean, this is what we're exactly looking for. Is we're looking for some movement in names that are potentially bucking the trend, right? I mean, that Ethereum could be a good trade as well today, as could Bitcoin. I mean, we're all excited to be here and trading anyways. 87.4 right now for BTC. So, all right, let's go back over to the desk. It's 8:16. Hopefully we'll have Michael Noss coming through soon.
DigitalBridge, guys, DBRG up about 30 some odd percent here to start in the pre-market. It was up about 50%, but pulling back a little bit here. Bloomberg reporting that SoftBank Group is in advanced talks to acquire the company. Sources indicated a deal could be announced as soon as today. DBRG, before I give you some information on it, up 23% year to date. Market cap hanging around about $2.5 billion, but its enterprise value, meaning its assets that it holds, far more than its market cap, $3.8 billion. What more can you tell us about this company, Adair?
I think it's really important to know what DigitalBridge actually does. They are a pure play digital infrastructure platform. They've got roughly $108 billion in assets under management. That includes data centers, towers, fiber, and edge infrastructure. Now, of course, data centers is going to be a good look for SoftBank, which we know does invest heavily in the AI space. Apparently, CEO Mark Ganzi owns roughly $108 million of DataBridge shares, which also aligns the leadership with the shareholders. Their portfolio includes Ames, Atlas Edge, DataBank, Switch, Vantage Data Centers, and Yonder. These are all AI leverage, I guess, to AI compute demand. So nice look here for SoftBank and DBRG.
And we'll recall, guys, that SoftBank did sell its entire Nvidia stake for exactly this purpose, being stated at the time by Masayoshi Son that he was looking to redeploy that capital into AI infrastructure. One has to assume that this is part of the process.
Timing is impeccable. Sharif bringing this up. They just halted the stock. No, literally, it's about 20 seconds ago, tops. DigitalBridge is now halted. I mean, obviously, at this point, let's be real. This is going to likely be because an actual deal is going to get announced, and it won't be speculation. So, it's anybody's guess at this point. The tap's not really going to matter. But some kind of a response, I suppose, is going to be the next thing that happens here. It'll either be, oh, there's nothing going on. That could always be the response. I haven't seen anything hit the wire just yet. Or we could find, okay, this is the term SoftBank is purchasing them for X. It could be cash and stock. It could be cash. Who knows what that might be. So we'll just keep our ear to the ground for this one. I mean, ultimately, these tend to play out pretty well in terms of volume and the ability to trade them if it's like a cash deal, but then we'll sort of see if that's how it ends up playing out. The interesting thing was, remember there was always speculation about the other places that SoftBank was going to be putting their money or making some investments. One of those was actually Marvell and rumored. It's not really reacting on this news, but I wouldn't wonder if this deal does get announced and it's like, it's not that big a company, if people aren't reminded that on a day like today that, hey, they like Marvell too, maybe there'll be a little something there. don't know if it's going to be a catalyst for it, but it's something to keep in the back of the mind, knowing that SoftBank, they got the cash, and this isn't that big of a spend. They still have plenty of cash to deploy, and Marvell's a name to maybe keep an eye on. But as far as DigitalBridge goes, when it opens up, we'll likely have the details of any potential deal, if there is one announced, because it could always just be, oh, what? SoftBank? No, there's no official offer. We're just talking to them. You never really know.
Yeah, I mean, we saw that Marvell bump a little bit when SoftBank was interested in them. So I really like Marvell. I've been liking it for a while. So that's a good story there. We did have some, potential activism news there in Target last week, which was a great little spike up for Target as well. It just reminded me that we had a similar spike up in Marvell when it was issued to SoftBank, potentially looking at them. So Target today, with the Nasdaq and ES both down pretty decently, 0.5 percentage point. Target up 0.5 percentage point as well. So, Target's doing pretty good here, looking to break through this $100.25 spot or so for TGT. Is, something's wrong with Costco. We've talked about them just continuing going lower here, trying to fight, sort of the administration on some of these tariff worries. They had I didn't even realize this, they had a nice little bump up last week as well. For Costco, the champion in all of this continues to be Walmart. I really like what Walmart's doing. I think you can buy them on dips, which is happening right now a little bit as well. They were just at 117, so you're getting about a 5% discount here in Walmart. If you go after, I don't know why my daily, oh yeah, that's right, they went over to the Nasdaq. That's been trying to hold 110, so that looks like a decent area to get long. I don't know why we switched over into retail mode here, but Amazon with a couple stories today as well about some drone delivery in Italy. I don't think that's a problem, but we'll see. Amazon not dipping down. I think it's Walmart would be the one you want to get there. And then we've had a good trade on Lululemon recently as well, as that's up through 210, a high of 225 or so. Or that might be the very, very high there on earnings. Yeah, 225 was the high. We'll look to see if we can get back above this 214, 215 area here for Lululemon. Pretty choppy here today, obviously, to open. There's no volume in many of these names. So if you want, XRP is the retail, isn't it XRP? No, XLP? Is that what the retail one is? That's Staples anyways. We'll get, isn't it? I thought it was XRP, but now that's saying that's Ripple. There it is, the daily target. Yeah. No, that's not what it is right there. What is the retail ETF? L is XRT, I think it is. XRT, is that what it is? Yeah, retail. We got it. Okay, there it is. So XRT, smarter than I look sometimes, and that's not saying much. But there it is right there, XRT. So looking for the retail ETF, this is what you're looking for right into there. So I don't know, it looks pretty good to me. Nice little bounce back there. We've seen names like Abercrombie and Urban Outfitters and A&F, AEO.
There's news on LULU, by the way.
Is there news on LULU? There's no volume today on it.
No, there's not a lot of volume on Lululemon, but Chip Wilson, who would be the founder, the founder is launching a proxy fight. He's nominating 3 directors to reshape the board as they're looking for the new CEO. So they're doing a turnaround, they're looking for new leadership, but the founder, Chip Wilson, is kind of making some moves, or at least attempting to make some moves on the board, which ultimately, let's be real, can it be a bad thing when you're doing a turnaround? So yeah, Lulu's been good. This is not really moving it, but I think it's been moving in the right direction, for lack of a better word. And there's also some positivity with Walmart in China with regards to how well Sam's Club is picking up over there. They're actually doing pretty well with the whole subscription model. Their Sam's Club has had good growth over there in China. But yeah, as far as retail goes, there's nothing specifically moving things around here today, but I like that news for Lulu. I can't see any reason why it doesn't continue this trend. But the only thing it has to do now, after consolidating for a bit, is make that next leg up. But I like when a stock, if it gets boring and consolidates after a breakup, that's fine. That just means sometimes it's gearing up for the next move. That's exactly what happened before the earnings, and it just kind of needs a catalyst to get going on that second look. Again, we'll see how the CEO search. Maybe that's what it'll be. It'll be finding out some updates with this whole proxy fight in the board, and maybe if Wilson gets his way, you might see a shoot up in the stock. But for now, it's just a bit of a side story here for Lululemon, 0.25% up. I don't expect it to move too much today. If one of these retail names is going to move, it's probably going to be a Walmart or Nike's been moving around a heck of a lot more the last couple of sessions. Dead cat bounce here for Nike last week. Good for them. They really, really needed it, but This one could be trying to fill in the gap this week. Again, no catalyst here for it specifically today, but good bounce last week for sure. That stock's been such a dog. They all have been really, but it just feels like Nike's been worse. I guess it hasn't at all. Oh, we got another super chat. Uh-oh. And it's not a fun sector. Well, it's a fun sector. These stocks just haven't been all that fun. On the Rail TV, thank you for the super chat. Can we look at SMR and Oklo? Are they trash? Here's the thing. These companies don't make money. It's all, whether we're talking about quantum or we're talking about the nuclear names, at least what separates some of these nuclear names is that there's more of a potential product to sell than some of the quantum. So in both of these cases, SMR and Oklo, there is certainly tremendous upside because small modular reactors are a technology that is needed. Power is probably, I mean, let's be real. You can talk all you want about AI and data centers, but everybody is thinking about power. When people look at the context of the battle in AI between the USA and China, a lot of it gets framed in the fact that, hey, China just has a better plan when it comes to power output and powering their grid. And that's something that there's a little bit of catch-up being played here. And this is part of the story. The difference between SMR and Oklo, at least a positive one in SMR's standpoint, is they have an approval on their design from the Regulatory Commission. But that's not necessarily the case with Oklo. But neither one of them is at that point where they're, hey, we're selling a product and we're profitable making it. That's a ways away. So these are shot kind of plays. I wouldn't describe that as trash. I would describe that as incredibly overpriced, difficult to value, and you are playing for maybe years from now with a stock like this. So they had their rally when everyone was hyped about it, and now it's sort of, okay, well, the air is starting to come out. We're not in the rate cutting environment that we thought we're going to be. Need to have some kind of a breakthrough. I like them more than Oklo just because they at least have approval with their design, which is a little bit of a step ahead. But hey, these guys don't make any money, so you got to understand a shot play when you see one.
All right, 8:30 right now. Thank you so much for that on the Rail TV. Keep those questions coming, of course, and we'll be able to answer them as we go. 87.3 for Bitcoin. Nasdaq just not doing too much right now. S&P relatively quiet, and we'll wait to see if there's going to be any big news stories that drop at some point today. But let's go back over the desk and see what they're up to.
Let's talk a little silver, guys. Pulling back just a little bit here, but there were developments over the weekend, specifically driven by China imposing export license restrictions on silver. The move has kind of raised a global fear, a global supply squeeze, fears of that, especially given its heavy use in industrial, EVs, electronic applications. The market reaction here, dropping below $85, is treating this more as a structural supply risk, not a short-term headline. The new export rules are viewed as kind of the primary upside catalyst. There's also a bit of an arbitrage happening right now with physical price of silver in China differing from that of gold. Elon Musk making comments about that as well, Adara, about the importance of silver in the industrial process.
What's happening here, I guess these physical silver premiums widening sharply. Shanghai prices near $91 an ounce versus like 77 to 80 an ounce in the West. Again, as Sharif mentioned there, Elon Musk not liking this, saying it's, quote, not good. So I guess interesting note there. It's also worth noting here, CME raising silver margin requirements to $25,000 per contract. As of today, they're having some concerns here about excessive leverage. So that's the reason for that. Interesting look there. The margins do actually reduce speculation, but history suggests that long-term bull markets can actually survive margin hikes. We'll have to see if that's what we're having here with SLV.
Here's a look at the daily chart for SLV, guys. Needless to say, it's been very, very strong. But a bit of a topping tail candle really forming on the day. It looks like a bearish engulfing candle. What do you guys see on your side?
We'll see. Like, I think today is the kind of day where, actually, you know what? Not even necessarily today, because every single dip that it's had has been a one-day event. So I'm not even sure that even if we were to end up red, if you end up holding this gap here to the prior high, it's really not even all that bad. Like, you've had pullback days, and then we hold the next day and you resume. Pullback day, hold the day after, and then resume. So pullback day here, you could easily just hold the day after and resume. But what I have noticed, on Friday, it was obviously just very different from what had been usually happening. But every other day, when it's a little bit of a trend down day or not a clean breakout day, there's been a clean downtrend early, and then a trend reversal. Trend down a little bit shorter, and then a reversal. Longer trend down, and then trend reversal. So pretty much every single day, it's given you a trend down to be reverted, whether it ends up being at 11 o'clock or 10:45 here, and there's about 10:30. This one lasts the entirety of the day. It's typically been one. It's just a matter of waiting for it to come back. And if it trends down, you can pull back in a prior high, prior high is like before Friday, so like the New Year's Eve high, or Christmas Eve high, I should say, like 65.5, 66. So I'm looking for that specific setup here on silver. When the dip buyers have come in, it's trended really well after that fact. So I'll let it kind of fill in that gap and go for the next leg. And when it comes to the daily chart, as we said, you really have to wait for that second day on a pullback. It's had red days before. It just hasn't had 2 red days in a row for well over a month.
I have silver written down as a short, so we'll see if it gets into $70 to short silver. We'll get Michael's opinion in a minute. SoftBank there, it's now official. They are going to acquire this DigitalBridge for $4 billion. So here's the story right over here. So I don't know whatever $4 billion is, but I guess we can, does it say that? I don't know why it doesn't say the exact price. DigitalBridge for $16 under the terms to acquire all the outstanding common stock of DigitalBridge for $16 per share in cash. So I don't know why it's trading at 19 right now, but we'll see where this is going. The tap right now is $14. So if you were buying this name early, you're now screwed. So hopefully you're not caught in DigitalBridge being bought out for less than it was trading at 5 minutes ago. All right, Michael Noss is here. Let's go find out what he's talking about. I hope you, Mr. Noss, had a great Christmas time and a great holiday season so far. With more to come, let's go over and get a word from Michael.
Hey, Michael, good to see you. Merry Christmas.
Good to see you.
You look fantastic there in that chair with the dark background. It looks very ominous, very Dr. Evil-ish, but I'm loving it. Michael, we're talking about the first 5 days of the performance. So I was doing a little bit of research on this, the first 5 days indicator, or some people call it the early warning system. It actually has a surprisingly high rate of accuracy. Tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, and this is a good one. I feel like this time of year I do a lot of seasonality, and I always like to state I'm not a sell in May, go away kind of person, or any of the weird, in my opinion, seasonality kind of things, but anything that has to do with how large institutions position themselves, anything that has to do with elections or taxes or, things that we can't avoid, even if we want to, I want to pay really close attention to. And there's a lot of them just around the end of the year. So we went through the Santa Claus rallies, which it looks like even with the move down today, it looks like we had that. And we talked about the January effect with the outperformance of small caps. Looks like we got that too. So this is another one to keep an eye on. And this is the first 5 days indicator. And so what we're looking for, just kind of as it's named, is the first 5 days of the new year. And it's important because it kind of shows us quite often, and like Shreve said, with a pretty good success rate, what could happen for the rest of the year, which is really hard to predict. Now, 80% of the time, if the first 5 days are positive, then the year is positive. Now, the caveat I'll give there is 75% of the time, the market's up anyway. So, you point your finger at the SPY. A year later, you have a 75% chance that the market's up. So an 80% chance is pretty significant, right? It's not huge. It's not saying that, right, this is the way to tell for sure, but it's a pretty significant move. And what I wanted to show with this chart is not just that it is important, but how much of a magnitude it means for the market. So, for example, the first bar chart is just showing that 80% of the time, if the first 5 days are positive, you have a positive year. And that positive year is going to be roughly 15% on the S&P 500, which is better than the average, which is roughly 8 to 10%, depending on when you anchor your time to. So you get a 50% better return on average if this first 5 day indicator flashes green. And then the other side is what happens if we don't get it. And it's 73%, which is, again, less than that 75% chance that we're higher. And when we're higher, we're only higher by average, 5%. So less than the 8 to 10% the SPY gives us on average. So really goes to show that the first 5 days of the year, again, starting the second when the market opens and counting 5 days after that, it's really important to watch and just to see if we get that. Now, the next one is also talking about the January barometer. So there's two things happening here. One is the first 5 days. The other one is an old saying that, goes January, so goes the year. The idea is that if January is positive, more of a chance that everything else is positive. And if you have both the first 5 days negative and January negative, you only have a 44%. Yes, that's the first 5 days. And then over to January, you only have a 44% chance that the market is up. And the market's up 75% of the time. So that's pretty significant going through. Now, the reason I like these things is because it's not just a bunch of numbers together. It makes sense. If I am a large institution, last week, into the end of the year, you're doing some tax loss selling. We talked about that. And then what you're doing is in the beginning of this year, in those first 5 days, and then through January, you're placing your bets. And you're placing your bets. What do I think the market's going higher? Do I want to buy things? And what do I want to buy? And then combining those two things together, we know these institutions are big and slow and they take a long time to buy and they move the market. So combining these things, saying if the big guys are buying in the very first part of January and all throughout January, then at least the smart money, for lack of a better term, is betting that we are going to get, a positive year and that, they're trying to put money to work. Whereas if they're selling for that first beginning of the year, then they probably think that there's something bad coming up on the horizon. And again, the smart money is selling. So this is a very good indicator for us to follow these guys and not only see if they're taking long bets, but I think where they're taking long bets is where I'm going to focus a lot on.
80% is a substantial number, substantial odd on your side with that first 5 days. Michael, is there a specific sector that you often look at that says maybe, it increases the probability? Is it a possibly tech accumulation, anything counter cyclicals, or is it just, look, the first 5 days are the first 5 days?
Well, mainly for this indicator, we're looking at the market, but with tech being 30% of the S&P 500 and way more even of the Nasdaq, I think we need to focus there. We need to focus on the big AI players and see what happens. However, we've had some good relative outperformance in healthcare. We've had some other areas of the market that are strong. So I'm broadly going to look at the S&P 500, but I don't think we get these positive 5 days without tech involvement. So we want to see that. But I'll be really looking under the hood as closely as I can just to see if there's a sector that pops out of nowhere. Again, we're following the large institutions and we're trying to figure out where they're taking their bet. So if solar rallies or something like that, it could be a bet on the elections, it could be a bet on anything, but I just want to know where these guys are taking their bets so I can kind of ride their coattails.
I like that. All right, one more question for you, Michael. This is going to be if, unless something crazy happens the last few days, this is going to be the third year in a row that we close up 20 some odd percent relative to the prior year. Does that concern you at all? Is that statistically important going into the fourth year?
Eventually, the market has to take a rest. There's a bit of a conundrum here where just because if you go to a roulette wheel and it's red a bunch of times, there's a natural human inclination to bet black. And there's no really each spin is unrelated to the other one. And kind of the same with the markets. Now, the other seasonality thing that I hinted that I'll talk about a little bit is talking about the election. And there's a midterm election in the States at the end of the year. And sometimes, and quite often actually, we get sideways consolidation going into that. So to me, that would be overall healthy if we do just rest. I'm more interested in how the market gets to that percentage number and not necessarily the percentage that we're up or down. For example, if, say we're up 10% in a year, but we spent the entire year doing nothing and then we rallied 10% at the end of the year, then that to me is not nearly as overbought as something that kind of chugs slowly higher all year. So where we are in the market right now is we really haven't gone anywhere since October. So I think this rest is not worrying me nearly as much. And if we continue to rest the way the seasonality says we should, all the way up into the midterm elections, then now we have like 9 months to a year of sideways consolidation and then a breakout. So if we get that breakout, that 15% at the end of next year, I'm totally okay with that. It just means it will be an annoying couple months leading up to it.
Great information. Thank you, Michael, for that. And hopefully we will get that first 5 days positive, and we'll have another fourth year of 20% gains for everybody. Thanks, Michael. We'll see you on Friday. Have a great New Year if we don't talk.
Talk to you Friday. Have a good New Year's.
Yeah, that's right. This week is funny. It's like it's New Year's
so
all of a
weird.
sudden, and it's just like, oh my God. It's just, I don't even know the date today, the 29th. I'm off today, a half day today for me, and then off tomorrow as we go to Buffalo. You know, for some hockey.
Cheer them up a little bit.
Yeah, we'll cheer them. Well, I think they'll be okay. I was looking at that yesterday. It was raining. It was so nasty. I was like, who the hell wants to go to this kind of a game? But thank God they are changing the stadium. They have a brand new stadium, which is going to be 80% covered, which should be good. Yeah, look, in the 100 years of data collected here for the S&P 500, there's only been twice where the market has continued to go upside after 320% years. So we'll see if that continues to happen again right there. And yeah, I think Michael's probably right. People are getting, you know, sometimes if you see red hitting on the roulette wheel, then the inclination is to bet black. And so I think there's a lot of people coming and wondering about how much can this market go up? But I just look at, we had great earnings. We have a president that's on the side of the stock market. We have Fed that's in a rate cut cycle now. Apparently jobs are okay. We'll have to wait to see if that's true or not. But the jobless claims is coming out okay. Unemployment rate's nice. No signs for recessions, you know, unless you're talking maybe about our country. But the U.S. seems to be pretty strong. They had a 4% print in the GDP. You know, backed by earnings, backed by now more buyouts happening. We just had a nice buyout there today. We had Nvidia talking about you know, throwing around more capital as well. We had Intel and Nvidia making that deal close today, that $5 billion as well. So I think the market seems to be pretty good heading into 2026. So we'll see if that can continue upside. When you get names like silver rallying and gold rallying as well, the banks are off right now, huge.
Speaking of,
lots of good things happening. Yeah, I have silver right now.
Silver's just made a move.
Unfortunately.
It just made a 67.5 to 66.5, so was about 4% to the downside. Now SLV down about 6%, and still falling here as we speak. And you're looking over at GLD, more or less the same kind of move, just a deeper percentage point here on SLV. So yeah, you're getting the metals fall a little bit. I mean, the market went down a couple of points there, but mostly it was just the metals making a bit of a turn down and to the right, as we like to say. Let's go to Adara. We don't have Joe, but we do still have some upgrades and downgrades.
Very light today, guys, as I suspect it will probably be this whole week. None of these upgrades are actually upgrades per se. They're either just reiterations or price target increases. But we have Palisade Bio here up 12.5%. Piper Sandler liking this one with a $25 price target. TTRX being, I guess, reinstated here with this $8 price target from DBRG Capital. And we've got Fathom here with a $2.5 price target from Roth Capital. Last but not least, Doximity with a positive analyst note from Raymond James, which maintains its $65 price target on the stock. Now we'll talk here about the downgrades. One of these here is actually a downgrade. Amicus Therapeutics not moving at all pre-market, but Leerink Partners downgrading FOLD to today with a $14.5 PT. Now I want to talk about Needham, because Needham has given price target cuts to 3 crypto names here: Coinbase, Robinhood, and Gemini. Coinbase getting its price target cut from $400 to $290. Robinhood cut here from $145 to $135. Gemini from $35 to $23. So Needham not liking the crypto space this morning. All 3 of these crypto stocks down roughly 1%.
As Neil was talking about silver, so I wanted to add this point in. The CME, which is obviously the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, most of the futures trade on that. They've raised their silver margin requirements, guys, to $25,000 per contract. That's effective the 29th from today. The purpose is to curb excessive leverage, but historically, as I read through this, despite margins being reduced or increased, history suggests long-term bull markets survive these margin hikes, especially when driven by supply constraints, guys. So big down day today for silver, but just to put that into context.
Yeah, certainly that's weighing on it a little bit for sure. But Coinbase on that downgrade. Look, we all know the story about Robinhood, but Coinbase, Robinhood's been good. Coinbase has been having problems for a while. At least that's what the chart's telling you. And we could, maybe even this week, see a flat bottom break here. You can make an argument that this could actually happen today with the weakness that we're seeing in Bitcoin, with the weakness that we're seeing generally in crypto. It just, for whatever reason, you've been looking at the rise of, hey, let's get everybody's money and let's do everything for them with Robinhood. And Coinbase is a little bit late to this party. They're trying to get into the prediction markets. That's a late push. Is this a little bit too little, too late? And obviously, with Bitcoin lingering and the strength in crypto has abated for some time relative to the market, this is a stock searching for some kind of support, and it just has not found it. I think we might see that 230. I actually had forgotten about this, but we might see this 230 flat bottom break this week. It's a big level here on the daily for Coinbase. I mean, downgrade's not causing it to do any extra volume today, so I'm not really sure you've got the juice particularly, but this is one to watch. I think if it breaks that level, then we actually see where push comes to shove, where the buyers want to be on this stock, because they haven't really been anywhere else. There was support at $300 for a while, and all of a sudden, you're still looking for that potential bottom here. Like, I like Robinhood more than I like Coinbase. I don't know if I'd buy either, particularly at these prices, but yeah, 230 breakdown on Coinbase. I think that's happening this week.
I'm not a fan of Coinbase. I'm not a fan of anything crypto really right now. I don't think there's any point in getting involved with crypto names. The one name that we at least know has some kind of a catalyst behind it is Eric W. Jackson right here with HUD 8. So we can, again, have a quick look at HUD 8, although they fell quite nicely there just bang, right off the open, 53 down to $49, and now trying to hold out to 48.50 or so. So HUD 8 again, the same guy that was sort of pumping next door and open door came over, and it was around this time back in, I think it was October or so, or it could have been this area right here as well. I meant to remember there was a spike up where he was talking all about HUD 8 and, not just looking at it as a crypto play, but as a few other areas of concern as far as infrastructure for AI and crypto and sort of the power, some sort of a power use for that play as well, like just infrastructure play for AI. So if Coinbase and the whole market tends to lose a little bit, we can get this name back to this 34 to 38 area or so for HUD 8. That seems to have been a good little spot. So maybe get your your books out and get ready to put some bids, or at least look at HUD 8 if the market does continue to fall again. I mean, that was such a big move there early on Friday. And it held these areas. So we'll see what it wants to do right now, around $48 for HUD 8. But just a longer term buy, I think $36 to $38 is well served there for HUD 8. The sticky note is now out. All the names I'm looking at, pretty obvious today: Silver, Rivian, TQs, and Tesla all on board. So we'll look to see if we can get going on any of those names. But I do like HUD 8, and there goes IBIT and Bitcoin, trying to go lower as well. I had silver written down as a short. So I don't know. I didn't see really anybody looking for short, so I think there could be a big bid coming at some point for silver. So just get ready, man. I know Neil was talking about that 66 area. That's coming into play right now. It looks like it might hold here. So, silver being down 6% now, giving back half or more than half of what we did on Friday. So, yeah, I mean, get ready to go. We're already underneath where we were. So, yeah, this should be an exciting day. Needless to say here for SLV, and I'm sure we're going to be going over all of that very, very shortly. So there it goes, man. The market taking a nice dump south side here as well. This should be a very, very interesting day as the market looks to get going early real quick.
Little Coupang here offering $1.17 billion compensation after that data breach we reported to you guys on. So that data breach happened in November. It impacted about 34 million users, and it triggered leadership changes as well as regulatory scrutiny. The incident is led to the resignation of CEO Park Dae-jun, which intensified pressure on management to restore and stabilize the platform. They're going to give about, as I mentioned, $1.17 billion in compensation. cancellation. It's going to be issued to about 50,000, issuing 50,000 won vouchers per user. Both current and former users, including those who closed their accounts after the breach, are eligible, and customers are able to check eligibility starting on the 15th of this month. There isn't a whole lot green this morning. Coupang happens to be one of the Madeira, up 2.5.
Yeah, just a couple other things to mention here with this story. Apparently, this compensation package is specifically for the holders of the 33.7 million accounts that were impacted by that data leak. So it's worth noting here, Kim Baum, founder of Coupang, publicly apologized for this incident, though he's not going to be attending these parliamentary hearings on the matter this week. He said he had other engagements, but interesting note there with regards to the founder. As mentioned, there's been some actual executive turnover at the company as well.
All right, guys, just give you an idea here. The suspect allegedly had about 3,000 customer records. The company's adamant that they were not sold or distributed externally, and they did operate with the government in the recovery, which is kind of why this bounced a little bit last week. It had been thought of originally that the company had gone on it alone. Looks like they had assistance with a regulator, liking that to the tune of 2.5.
Everyone gets a coupon.
Ooh, I like the coupons.
No, I mean, look, if there's anything that I think you can take away from that story, if you're not involved in Coupang or you're not going to trade Coupang, which might not be to a lot of people, is that, hey, cybersecurity, I think, is going to be a good theme for next year and going forward. There's no questions about that. But at least in terms of this, okay, good. They've got it resolved. In theory, you've got it somewhat resolved. And we've already seen the gap. We've already seen the gap up and the consolidation on Friday. So I don't know what would be left to do for the stock. Maybe just to hold on to 24 for a day or two to see what the reaction might be. A little bit on a higher time frame, but I just don't necessarily see a day trade. I would argue that the breakout from the low has sort of already happened here on this story. So whether it holds on to this 24, I think is going to be key, and maybe call it like 24 1/3. Like, I just look at where it closed on Friday, and if it doesn't hold on to this, that's the market telling you that maybe we're not comfortable with this resolution altogether. But as long as it holds the gap has already been put in terms of bouncing back in here. And we've seen this story before to a certain extent where you have this crazy data breach or something which really should shake some foundations, but ultimately it gets forgotten rather quickly if the company handles it well enough. And so far the market's kind of telling you that. We saw this, remember CrowdStrike? It's like how bad everything was, and immediately everyone sort of forgot about it. But I think the overwhelming story for myself is, when I listen to this, it just kind of confirms, we know that the cybersecurity names, you pay a big multiple on them, and they're all expensive. I just typed CoreWeave instead of Crowd. That's hilarious. We pay a big multiple on them, but you've got to respect the fact that this is a business where I don't think we have to worry about the spend. Companies are going to continue to spend here. Maybe we run into some issues with AI spend, but I don't think we have to run into that issue here. I think you're getting down to some points where, like, CrowdStrike's very close to that 200 period moving average. I'm actually bidding down here. I'll probably just get something in. If I don't get it by the end of the year, certainly in the beginning of the year, this stock I'm buying on dips. Because as we've seen, these breaches aren't going anywhere. There's a war for your data, and every company's got to spend to defend. And that means winners in Palo Alto, winners in CrowdStrike. Those are two I like the best. But there's others, Zscaler, to name another one.
Interesting to see FXI down here as well, as the Nasdaq just took a big little dump, I guess, 0.7% right now to the downside. And here's FXI, so kicking it from 39 down to 38.25 as we start the story with Coupang. But yeah, this looks like it wants to drip a little lower here as well. I wish maybe I would have put this on the sticky note if I noticed it. But yeah, this looks like it wants to lose their level here as well. So I don't think we get back up to 38.65. I generally look for the 200 period moving average, but that's a little bit of a problem there as well. This DBRG just opened up. I was going back and forth a little bit with it, but 15.25 right now. We saw that it was being bought for $16. So watch out there for DBRG coming to a trade near you. It looks like that is done now. Over 4 million shares. So this is being bought by SoftBank for $16 cash. $4 billion deal right there. And of course, if you want cybersecurity, you can do that. Hack, actually, SIBR is a better one. Thank you guys last week for bringing this out. Cyber right there, a good little name there to look at. So cyber would be something to look at if you thought that space is one to get involved with, which I do believe so as well. Yeah, that's right. You tell them, Fern and Duck, lock in, chat. You guys got to lock in. Right now. Thank you for joining. It's almost 9 o'clock. For everybody that's there, make sure you do hit the subscribe button. The like button is nice. That's fine. But right there, let's get to 550,000 subscribers. We have over 3,700 watching right now. 550,000 subscribers is what we're trying to get at. So see if you can make that happen. Of course, hit the like button as well, as there's more than 17 likes right now. You just got to hit the refresh on that one. There it is, 336 likes. But that's not what we're worried about. Let's get that subscriber count to 550, right? That's what we're looking for. So if you can help us out on that one, hit the like and the subscribe, and we'll get that going. But it looks like we can get going with our rundown very shortly. It's almost 9 o'clock, so we do have 35 minutes till this market opens. It's a full day today, so thank you for joining us all day. We're also here on a full day on New Year's Eve.
Yeah, because the market decides it should be a full day on New Year's Eve.
Yes, of course.
But we got a couple of super chats, and both from Soon Free. And, well, you know what? That's the first one. We missed your ticker on Friday, MU, but then you sent another one right here, which I'm just going to throw up, and Carvana as well. So let's just have a quick look at both of those names. What I can tell you is, look, Micron has been a great story for this year. Obviously, data is going to be, I'll get rid of those. We'll get the Carvana in a quick little second after that, Soon Free for sure. No, obviously, at the end of the day, Micron's been a great story. I'm going to go to SanDisk after this because I still think that one is relatively weak. It feels like you had a bit of a topping tail candle here. This has been a leader in the memory space, obviously Micron, but you had that topping tail. But what's more distinct is kind of this like head and shoulders game that just happened the last couple of sessions where you had the false break of 290, so resistance 290, false break of 290, basically just gapped over and immediately lost it. So it's a telling day. If you can't get over the hump or the shoulder or whatever you call it when you look at this pattern, it's just the lower high, like resistance staying true at about 287. If you don't breach that, I think you're pulling back in to about 270. I've been sort of looking at this in conjunction with SNDK and saying, any weakness in Micron is maybe just a little bit weaker here, and similar pattern. They both made fresh highs that couldn't break, and they're both putting in lower highs and head and shoulder patterns and looking relatively weak here. So I think the memory space is kind of due for a bit of a pullback. I would lean to thinking SNDK pulls back more than Micron, but that's just my 2 cents. And then Carvana, you still need to have this one settle down. Every name that's been going into the S&P, right? Like you get an addition into the S&P 500. It's a great catalyst. There's no question about that. So, they had their rally going into it. It's made a temporary bottom since the inclusion, but even then, that's just been a couple of days here holding the lows. So give it a little bit of time. Like it rallied, like there wasn't even a red day between 309 and that high at 480. So it really does need to settle down. Probably a pullback into 400 makes some sense here with Carvana.
All right, yeah, I mean, that was at S&P. Oh, I want to look at Uber, too, because that was at $80. So, yeah, okay, so still $81 there for Uber. So, always when I think about what's been added to the S&P or to the Nasdaq, I think about Uber, because they had an epic run into $100, and then since has been really falling off there for Uber. So, watch out for UBER here today, around $80. All right, Adair and Sharif, let's go back over and see what you guys are up to. It's 8:58 right now, a couple minutes to go, 9 o'clock, and we got a half hour, and we'll check out the imbalances. Not much going on right now.
Hey guys, we'll just talk quickly about oil because oil's also up after, President Trump met with President Zelensky in Mar-a-Lago. Previously had spoken to President Putin over the telephone, but there were more strikes between Russia and Ukraine over the weekend on energy infrastructure specifically. Separately, Saudi Arabia also struck Yemen and Iran now with rhetoric at the UN of a full-scale war against the U.S., Europe, and Israel. Also, we spoke to you guys last week about President Trump striking Nigeria, which also has about 1.5 million barrels per day in production. The Tensions remain elevated in South America, off the coast of South America, with the U.S. building a large force off the coast of Venezuela. So, Adara, we have oil here up about 2.5% after closing pretty negative on Friday.
It's an interesting look, too, as well, with regards to Ukraine and Russia. I think it's also worth noting, keeping an eye on these defense plays. We know the defense plays in the European market, I was hearing, had a pretty rough start because, again, usually with oil and defense, we get these kind of geopolitical tensions. These types of names will move if we see kind of an ebbing of these tensions, specifically with the scale of the Russia-Ukraine situation. That could also be impacting these stocks. So certainly keep an eye on defense as well as oil here.
All right, guys, let's have a look at the futures. We'll have a look at here at the ES March contract. We closed at 69.80 after the S&P, not the ES. The S&P index made all-time highs last week. 69.80, though, is the level that we closed at last week, with the overnight high being 69.84. So we haven't quite made it up to 7,000. We're going to say 7,000 is going to be our first area of resistance. If we continue selling off here, and it looks like we're below Thursday's close, we're going to look to that 69.25 area, guys, as our first level of support. All right, guys, make sure to get the watch list every day. Adara prepares it and we all use it, and it really helps you organize your day, lets you know what's moving, what to prioritize, and exactly how much it is up or down. And of course, no good morning routine is complete without a good watch list. And if you want a bit more nuanced, a bit more lengthy of a morning note, make sure to get my morning note for Trader TV Live premium members on YouTube. Let's start with the first ticker, though, here. Tesla Supplier. Tesla Supplier contract is slashed as Cybertruck demand softens. So we're talking about South Korean battery materials supplier LF & Co. They disclosed that its cathode supply contract with Tesla was reduced by 99%. The company cited a change in the supply quantity in its regulatory filing with the country, effectively nullifying was once, Adara, a major multi-year agreement.
Worth noting, I think, the scope of this, too, because this contract did cover high nickel cathode materials specifically for these Cybertruck batteries. Apparently, deliveries have been scheduled from January 2024 through December of 25. So this current month, Bloomberg reported that apparently only minimal material was delivered. We know that there have been slipping production Cybertruck timelines here. So interesting look there. It's also worth noting we do have, of course, weaker than expected Cybertruck adoption and demand. Buyers have been instead looking towards the Model 3 and the Model Y, which does reduce the need for these specialized battery materials. So a little bit of context there.
All right, guys, Tesla, the worst performing Mag 7 name to start the morning. What's your look?
That's cold. Is it that bad?
Yeah, it's at 1.4. I think he's close to being right about the worst performing one. But I mean, we don't really know the story. Well, we know the story, but is that enough to actually create this thing to move like this? I don't know, down 1.4%.
It can't do what it did at the open. It can't do this every day. That's the best way to put it. And when it comes to Tesla. And I think part of the symptom of like what happened on Friday, I know I wasn't here, but it was basically the same thing that happened on Christmas Eve, where like you were failing a specific price area. So we couldn't seem to break 500, then we couldn't seem to break 490, and the sellers were abundant at 490 bucks. I think it's just that simple. Like it was a lot of profit taking when we tested that 500 level, and so much sell volume underneath 490. On the off chance you see that this week, I think you make the assumption if we ever see, like the high 80s, 90s, that's probably going to be a place to look for a fade, but we're not getting there today. There's almost no chance you're going to see that resistance level today. So in theory, you've got the prior support here in the mid-70s on Tesla. I'm more inclined thinking with markets sliding back in, are we going to get that big of a pop? Seems pretty unlikely to me, so Tesla's not on my list, unfortunately. So I'm going to be probably sitting this out unless we can go back and test the prior key levels here, like 475 to about 477. If you got up there, I'd be looking for some kind of a fade, but otherwise, I think I might end up sitting Tesla out unless we get some kind of a big spike up. Tesla can go $10. It happens. Just doesn't feel like the market's that strong that we'll pop into that level.
Yeah, we'll see. I have Tesla written down as a short into 467. I mean, I have basically silver long, Rivian long, TQ short, Nasdaq short with Tesla there. So breaking through 467. And it's just, I don't know, we've seen it make very, very dramatic moves in the past. Of course, that is TSLA. So wouldn't be surprised if something like that winds up happening again for this particular play. So for me on Tesla, right here, just looking at that level break, again, we saw that on Friday. We tried to, figure out what levels might hold, and it looks like we did get a hold there of 475, but now we're broken below it. So now we just look down into here. That's 467 right into here. So that's the kind of breaking spot that I'm thinking about there for Tesla. So we'll see if that can hold this 467 area. I think if it happens right away, you could just smash it, and then you just wait to see, what happens after that. I mean, here's a 30-minute chart for Tesla. There's not much in the way if you do wind up, breaking this level. Then I wrote down 460 is sort of that next area. So yeah, TSLL, TSLA, I mean, definitely worth looking at today, both moving around, now down 1.4% here. So for me, yeah, it's going to be a short through that 467. I don't know if you want to take it immediately, but that's the trade to look for. If you're going to go long, I would get out if you break that 467. You could give it a couple pennies if you want, but this thing off the open can be quite wild and aggressive. So TSLA, looking at a short to start with, why not? The market's down, looks like it wants to bleed a little bit, and Tesla kicking it off of all-time highs, $500. So yeah, it looks like just for this week, potentially Tesla has some overhead supply issues that it can't break through. And I don't know, on a lightly traded week, potentially, that's going to create too many buy opportunities for Tesla. So for me, I'm looking short on TSLA to start with.
Nvidia and Intel in focus after Nvidia completed the purchase of about 215, a little bit less than 215 million shares of Intel, investing roughly about $5 billion at $23.28 per share. We reported this to you obviously back in September. The U.S. antitrust agencies, well, they went ahead and gave the nod earlier in December, removing that regulatory overhang, Adara. But there is some analyst commentary today specifically on Nvidia.
I want to mention here first and foremost, Bernstein here with this analyst, Stacey Ragson, they have reiterated this exact buy rating and $275 price target on Nvidia 3 times in the last 10 days. But I do want to say this time, at least, they're talking here about Nvidia's $500 billion long-term AI opportunity. They're talking about recent deals with Anthropic, OpenAI, and Middle East sovereign partnerships. I also saw part of the note that addressed the Grok deal, so interesting look there. Again, Bernstein clearly very bullish, and this is not the first time within this month that they've reiterated this rating. NVIDIA also has acknowledged that they do have some competition here with Google on that TPU program, with that apparently being roughly 2 years ahead in development. But management at NVIDIA arguing that TPUs are model-specific, so it'll be a bit harder to deploy broadly as compared to NVIDIA.
I think what they're referring to there, guys, are the ASICs acquisition, where they made that acquisition last week with Grok. Grok widely speculated to be sort of a response by NVIDIA into getting into that application-specific integrated circuit business. Should note that part of the reason why they did the asset purchase was the regulatory risk that they would run into if they were to purchase this company outright. However, I was reading an article over the weekend which basically said NVIDIA's ASICs business was nearly none, so an acquisition here wouldn't have put it really in competition with anybody small. It would have been competing with another trillion-dollar company, the likes of Broadcom, Marvell, and others.
Yeah, the other thing to remember here is it was just last week when you had some, you effectively had comments from NVIDIA, or at least attributed to NVIDIA, and it wasn't like Jensen Huang or anything, talking about this Intel deal. And then you had the Commerce Department coming out and saying, well, Intel's not too big to fail. So like, you have concerns with NVIDIA when it comes to whether or not Intel is going to be able to have good enough yields for them to be able to fabricate their chips. And then you had the Commerce Department coming, I believe it was the Commerce Department coming out with regards to Intel, also saying, hey, these guys are not, like, yeah, we're invested in them at a better price than NVIDIA, by the way. 19 versus 23. Hey, who got the better deal? The U.S. government did, apparently. No, so I'm coming into this sort of thinking you still have that overhang on Intel. Now, NVIDIA was strong relatively on Friday. Intel did nothing except hold. It basically just held a range, got 36.5 tops. I like this and AMD to the south side because the way I see it, like enter twice. NVIDIA gapped up, was strong, held the line very well here relative to other names, but it's still above the 187 support that it had before. So it probably needs to find some support. And if they were such a strong leader for the last couple of weeks, and then on Friday also a leader, then that's not necessarily the one I want to pick on. I looked at AMD, which very obviously just continued on Friday with sellers at 216. I mean, that's just as clear as day. 3 days in a row, 216, a big failure at that price. And we're a little bit far away to be able to fade at this point. When I sat down, you're kind of thinking you could break up and get there, but I'm still thinking fade on that name. And as far as Intel goes, I haven't seen enough here to convince me that the resistance at 36.5 is gone. If you're busting through 36.5, fair enough. Then, then the stock is going to go. I understand it made a bit of a wipeout bottom there on the 24th, but still, at 36.5 is going to be a fade until proven otherwise. So yeah, Nvidia, it's been a leader. I think it's more of a settle down day for Nvidia, where it's finding a base after its relative strength on Friday.
Yeah, AMD just went. I really like Nvidia to the long side, obviously, but I'm not sure about today. Like today, we look and we watch out for this market, and it's starting to bleed a little bit. So I'm going to go to the weaker name that's generally been weaker, anyways. That's going to be Advanced Micro Devices. We know we can get our face ripped off on this name as well, so we got to be pretty careful what we're looking to do here on NVDA. On AMD, but at the end of the day, it is coming back into 210. So I think that's going to be an area of concern there. We look at 200 for that name. We keep saying that as long as we're underneath 220, we want to be short. So the 200 period right there, 213.50, something to look at right off the open. Like there's been nothing going on. I don't hear anything really in my ear about anything right now. The Intel trade, I liked it up where we got out of this name, and that was back obviously down near the low side or the high side of $40. Still in this name, but willing to get out of it. Obviously, if this continues to bleed on Intel, but yeah, underneath $38. So today, I just feel in the short, man, and I chose actually the Nasdaq as the sort of the weapon of choice here today. If we have to find something to short, it would just be the overall feels of this market. The TQ is, of course, down 2% as it's a triple levered ETF, so we don't have too much to worry about as far as that is concerned. But I'm going to be going short the market, so if I'm thinking that way, it's hard to go oppo there with Nvidia. So I'm going to go looking initially to go short there. Trying to go short on Tesla. We talked about that. Let's go find out DBRG and SoftBank. That deal's done right now at 15 and change. $16. It's at 15.30 right now, DBRG.
Yeah, that is the new information that we have subsequent to the call. You'll remember we were speaking about this about half an hour ago, and it was halted pending news. We've got that news. So just before we go into it, Sean giving us the information there. So it's going to be SoftBank has agreed to buy all outstanding shares of DigitalBridge Group for $16 a piece, part of the Japanese conglomerate strategy to take over of an AI-driven boom. The price represents, though, about a 15% premium to the closing price on Friday and a 50% premium to its unaffected 52-week average closing price as of the 4th of December. Those are the numbers that were given by the company. It's dropped off substantially from where it was trading. It was trading at about $21 in the highs this morning, now trading about 15 and a quarter a day. What more information can you give us?
Yeah, so what happened here is initially we did have Bloomberg reporting that SoftBank was interested in DigitalBridge. Again, now, of course, this has been confirmed. DigitalBridge, in terms of what they actually offer here, they are a pure play digital infrastructure platform. They've got roughly $108 billion in assets under management versus a $2.5 more or less billion market cap prior to all of this news and all of this move. Mark Ganzi, who's the CEO of DigitalBridge, actually owns about $108 million worth of shares, which shows that leadership is aligned here with the company's shareholders. And this also comes as we know SoftBank is doing some aggressive AI investment in rotation, selling their Nvidia stake now, confirmed getting into DBRG here. So interesting look. We'll have to see what happens to this stock. I want to mention as well WOK. Thank you, Neil, for bringing this one to my attention. Work. Medical technology getting a nice pre-market pop around 9:05 a.m. today. The company announcing that Hunan Provincial Medical Products Administration has given them approval for the Class 2 medical device. So good look here for WOK as well as the aforementioned DBRG.
All right, guys, we were trading about 30%. Now we're down below 10%, 9 4/5. What's your look?
Out of complete morbid curiosity, how did Work Medical manage to not get the ticker Work?
You're missing the R.
No, seriously, is there another stock Work? I type it into my level 2. I don't actually come up with another stock. So that's an abject fail, Work Medical. Because Walk, it's like, give me a break. I was instantly typing Work when that story came in there. Just a couple of things. If you end up trading this, and I will be trading it today, when you're looking at a buyout. I know it says $16, and that's all well and good, and eventually if the deal closes, you'll get $16 in cash. But the projected close for this is not until second half of next year, which is a wide range. When they tell you second half, like that could mean September, it could mean December, like who knows? Like that could literally mean July or August. So you have a bit of a wide range to be able to try to price this one properly. If you do like a reasonable fair value, it's something like the risk-free rate is probably close to like 15.50 or something like that. I wouldn't expect it to trade too much higher than that. If it did, it could potentially go squeezing. But yeah, DBRG is going to do a lot of volume inside of a relatively tight range. Just understand you're not getting 16 bucks today. If you do, it's because then some shorts got blown out of the water or something along those lines, as far as that's concerned. But when it comes to, oh, that's why, because it was WeWork. Thank you, Vizbot in the chat. Yeah, well, they could still change their, WeWork's dead now, so, I mean, they could come and steal it. Walk or work, whatever, doesn't really make a difference. What does matter to these guys is, well, look at this chart. Habitual, we know what happens, penny stock, reverse split, and in this particular case, you can actually make a legitimate bounce. I think you just have to be careful with how far you think these can go and how long you think they can last. Right? Like it's already sort of rejected some prices that it had history to, like the $6 area has been rejected. If you're not at least closing back above here, like 550, some candles on the higher time frame, then you're going to be in a little bit of, I think, trouble of catching this on the back end. So just be careful with walk. Certainly, it's got good volume. It's certainly one of the stronger ones that's moving. When I pull up that daily chart, you're already seeing some signs of it putting in that top at 6. It'd be much more interesting if it could make that breakout above $6 and 6.5, and then you could have some follow through. So we'll just let it calm down here as it's starting to pull back here. It's just habitually, like we would call it like a habitual line stepper when you look at some of these small cap stocks. You got to get in early, otherwise you could get burned.
Yeah, right here for BBAI, just another one that people potentially looking at here. Not that this is not going to get bought out or anything like that. Well, maybe it is. I don't know. But this has really absorbed that 200 period moving average. So it goes all the way back into early spring. And even if I zoom this out even more, you'll see it still does even hold right here as well. And then all the way back down in. So BBAI coming into a play right now, 550 or so. Could be a decent area here for Big Bear AI if you're at all interested in this name. So watch out here for BBAI trying to come through right now. So we're interested in this name, as I think we should be here. Big Bear AI right now coming into $5. So watch out for that name here today. And the name that I like in this space is going to be Marvell. We talked about this will be probably one of my plays for 2026. We'll see what happens with MRV. We talked about SoftBank buying DBRG there. We'll see if they can have a player and interest again in Marvell as they look to improve, as we said, on their AI stack. So yeah, Marvell, just another name that's in play, and it just reminds me that you never know what's going to happen on any given day. So, you know, if you were a buyer of DBRG there on the past couple of days, you've done well here. So we'll see if Marvell can get going as well down here with SoftBank. And you know, SoftBank necessarily hasn't been trading that well. So SFTBY over here on the exchange of OTC markets. And, you know, let's just go back over. This is what SoftBank's been doing. So it's not like they're the greatest, you know, investors or anything like that by any stretch of the imagination. As you can see, $890 down to $55. So if you actually are interested in SFTBY and getting some of this data bridge, then you can get this with SoftBank. So $45, $50 been holding, but there it is, man. SoftBank getting crushed as well. So we'll wait to see what happens with the AI trade. But yeah, SoftBank's an interesting name to look at these days.
All right, guys, talk a little Amazon over here. The company confirmed it will not proceed with its commercial drone deliveries in Italy after conducting an internal company review. The decision follows the pilot testing, which was completed in San Salvo and Abruzzo. Amazon cited, look, despite the technical progress, they said the broader business and regulatory environment doesn't support long-term drone operations. Italy's Civil Aviation Authority said this was kind of a little unexpected. It noted that progress had been positive with the deployment, and they suggested the decision may be tied to Amazon's internal policy, but this highlights a recurring issue for Prime Air, Darryl.
Yeah, so Prime Air, I guess the issue here is that aviation approval is not, or alone on its own, is not enough without alignment on labor, logistics, and commercial regulation. Amazon emphasizing this is just a country-specific decision, so in no way are they retreating from drone delivery across the globe. And Prime Air is still going to be active here in the U.S. and certain international markets, though, of course, not Italy, where regulatory frameworks are viewed as more flexible. Now, of course, we've had some regulatory scuffles, to put it mildly, between the U.S. big tech companies and Europe. Interesting, though, in this case, that Italy's Civil Aviation Authority had no issue with Amazon here, so we'll have to see how this kind of continues to unfold. It's also worth noting that this move from Amazon does reinforce the idea that drone delivery remains experimental.
Down 0.5% here to start the morning, boys, but Amazon did have a decent week last week.
Oh yeah, like Amazon's been bouncing nicely. I just think we need to hold a 50 period here on Amazon. It's a pretty, I hesitate to call it boring today, because you never really know what is going to hold. It's right now better than the market, only down 0.4 to the Nasdaq down 0.75, but it's this key off the 50 period moving average that I like. It's holding it the last 3 sessions while consolidating above, but it's just the breakout that needs to go. So like I actually like Amazon. I wrote it, actually put it on my iPad as 233 break. It's not looking incredibly likely today, so it's not going to be on my list. But I like the consolidation here. Ignore some of these dark pool prints. But I like the consolidation here, 231 to 233. Another couple of closes above that, that'll be key. And then eventually a breakout over the 233 level I like for Amazon. I'd be a bigger fan. I mean, I'd be a bigger fan if the market was, not looking so relatively weak today. Like, we've just essentially been grinding down. It just doesn't feel like we're going to see this breakout today here on Amazon. As far as particularly this drone story, it's not going to be enough juice to make this happen on its own. We're going to need to have the market find some kind of a temporary bottom here. But anytime you show me a consolidation like this, I'm looking for that next leg up and breakaway. So on Amazon, same story. I like that 50 period hold. It'd be nice to see the 50 period do some work when it's really just been buying off the 200 SMA on the daily, which has been good for you. So it might be boring today. Could see an inside day there with Amazon potentially, but that 33 breakout, that can happen this week. If it doesn't happen this week, then I look for it. I hate to say it next year, but that's literally.
Yeah, now you're not too far away.
Like it's next week, so next week, next year. I guess it's more dramatic if I say next year.
Yeah, always is. Right here, so we had the silver short written down at 69.50, and of course, right now silver is getting trounced to the downside. 66 just broke, and we were writing it in the pre-market right into here as we came in, and then all of a sudden it gets to $69 right there. So that was, so feeling pretty good about our ability to read momentum and everything like that, because there it goes straight to the downside. As we had silver written down short and we just missed it by 50 cents. So it just never got to the 200 period. It may not get back there again either. So there it goes, man. Silver, huge, a move back in, down now 7% down on SLV. So this continues to get crushed here actually on SLV. And I think gold also hitting downside right now. So will there be a move back here today? We'll see, but nice moves back. Here we go. Show this trade, Ramin, as well, if you want. This chart. There goes gold, man. 410 to 411, all the way back into $400 again. So we were brave enough to write down the short early. Let's see if we're brave enough to take it when it opens up here. There goes short on silver. Hi ho, hi ho. It's off to work we go. Hi ho was a good name last week, but hi ho silver. There it goes, $72, downside to 65.50. We wrote down 69.50 and missed it by 50 cents. Let's see if we can get it again here. Maybe looking at VWAP 67.50. 9:22, still minutes to go here before this market opens.
Northeast down 1.9% here to start the pre-market. Here's what happened. They cut their prices for the obesity drug Wegovy by roughly 50% in Chinese provinces. The prices for the 2 highest doses were reduced to about 987 yuan and about a little less than 1,300 yuan. Novo said the move is intended to lower patient cost burdens and improve treatment adherence, but more speculative analysts believe this has to do with semaglutide's patent expiring in China in March. Now, just to give you a little bit of information on this, They had originally filed, Novo, their patent in China in March of 2006. But in 2022, a Chinese regulator actually sued Novo to have that patent removed earlier and open it up for production by generic companies. Novo appealed the suit and they won, so they were able to hold on to their patent until March 26th of there. But the pricing action really seems to be here that copycat obesity drugs could find their way onto the Chinese market sooner rather than later.
Yes, and when that happens, which again, it's likely a when and not an if, that could lead to rapidly compressing margins. Competition's already intensified from domestic obesity treatments from companies like Innovent Biologics. It's also interesting, too, that Wegovy prices being cut on platforms from JD.com. Patients nationwide could order the drug following online physician consultations, which broadens access beyond the traditional hospital networks or channels. And this digital distribution could actually help Novo Nordisk preserve volume, even if they lose pricing power. So we're going to have to wait and see what happens here. This is reported by a local outlet in China by the name of Yikai, and then re-reported by Bloomberg locally here.
Yeah, you have to like what this might mean for Novo Nordisk. Remember, like Eli Lilly's, they're coming. You know, they're going to have their oral as well, and they have been the leader. We talked about this last week, how there have been some studies showing that you can actually go from one to the other without potential loss of effectiveness. That could be interesting because it might mean that this isn't as big news as you would think for Novo, but in the surface, it's still going to be good. I know it's down 2% today, but what my comments still hold true, what I believe about this. Effectively, you've already held a pretty significant bottom at 45. So this pullback in about $50 or 50 and a half, it's still trying to settle down from the news. It's just holding the gap. There's been a lot of profit taking off the open. Pretty much every single day at the open, there has been some weakness on this stock at about 52.5 to 53, and it's just trying to find that base after the gap up. So until it really settles down, makes some higher lows, you're just waiting for that next breakout, which I think can be confirming the trend break here on Novo. So it's worth being patient. If a stock goes down for a year and a half, then you shouldn't be worried about being in a trend break a day or two late or a week late. Who cares? Ultimately, I'd rather see some better confirmation that the bottom is in here in Novo. So, hey, I like the news. There's no question about that. Certainly, it's now above the 50 period, but you're just consolidating without a secondary break. So when the secondary break happens, then I'll be interested in that long. I do want to talk a little bit about Bitcoin here. We did see over the weekend and this morning a pretty hefty fall off through 90,000. And as long as this, I'm just looking at this daily chart, as long as this holds true, get rid of stupid ads on TradingView. As long as this holds true, where our prior support line has turned into resistance, and now all of a sudden we've got lower high resistance at around 90K. And I want to short into those levels on Bitcoin. And it's been working. If you're just patient enough to sort of wait for those opportunities to fade on BTC. So get rid of some of the trend lines, because like the last couple of sessions, when we've had inside days, I've just allowed it. Anytime it bounces, I just go for some trend breaks. But today I'm looking at the 50 and the 49.8 levels, which I think on any kind of pops can come into play here, particularly on IBIT. So Novo's not going to be a trade for me. It is really setting up for a potential breakout if you look at a swing trade or if you look at a higher time frame. It's just not happening yet. IBIT's more present for me. Every single day we seem to be testing that 88K level and seeing sellers when we get there. So I'm looking for that again today.
So yeah, with only 3 minutes to go, we'll be looking for a few things. We have Rivian down to 20 bucks. We'll see if that can hold. This is all on the note. You can go find it. Thank you everybody for joining again here today. This is your sticky note for the day. We have SLV, we have Rivian. I mean, we'll have to adjust that. We're going to look at VWAP now at 67.50. Rivian long at 20, shorting the Nasdaq today as well if we get a little bit of a bump, which we may get there off open. TQ's right now at 54.20, so we can move that easy. And then Tesla right there on this 467 break about to happen, and it just actually just bounced really nicely off of that 467. I mean, it got to 467 and a quarter and then bounced. So I think we nailed the right level there. Let's see if it holds it straight away off of the open. So we've already got the imbalances for today. So let's have a quick little look to see what exactly they're looking like right now, and not a bunch of action actionable trades on here. SMR, maybe for the short, that's down to $14. Wow, what a disgusting trade that is. DBRG, we already know that's a buyout. BBAI, we talked a little bit about that as well. I'm not seeing too much there, man. Oracle, that's still sub 200, right? So yeah, 194, Oracle hitting with a little bit of a sell. That's actually one of the bigger names down today. We didn't even talk about it, down 2% is Oracle as well. So after that, man, Archer is on there. We did get a little bit of a note, a super chat there about Rocket Lab, so RKLB. I don't want to forget about you. I saw you message me there and say, you know, check out the super chat. But yeah, I don't mind Rocket Lab. We did have AST space get to the downside off of that launch that they had. I just, you know, I like this sort of theme going into the new year there with space, and we do have the fact of potentially SpaceX coming with an IPO and Rocket Lab there off the robotics news. Good take, man, down to 39.50. It's just the year of, you know, taking trades and taking stocks that don't make any money. I'm going to have to look to see if Rocket Labs is a profitable company or not. I don't assume it is right now, but those of you that know more about it, we just hit all-time highs on Rocket Lab, so a little bit of a pullback is due for that. The last time we bounced clean off the 50, so why not wait for $55 coming through on Rocket Labs? We only have 30 seconds to go right now. I think the one that's going to hit for me would be Tesla, not Archer. There's another aviation name. I mean, some of these names are getting hit, so we talked about thematically what's going to hit next year. We'll see if it's space. All right, 468. 469, 470 coming up for Tesla. So watch out here. Palantir moving. The market's getting a nice little kick here to start. With only 10 seconds to go, let's see what winds up happening.
Yeah, your bell for the holiday shortened week starting right about now as we'll ring it. Brought to you by OGEN. I want to shout out to them for sponsoring, so appreciate OGEN. Look, immediately, oh my goodness, immediately taking a right turn in the market. And when I say right turn, I mean down. AMD, that just hit the bid heavily. So already down at 210, down 2%, and still continuing to fade. Sorry, I was just looking at AMD because that was the chip name I was looking to go short. But Nvidia, 2% as well to the downside. So that is also falling. Immediately right-hand turn. Bitcoin not doing much. Okay. Silver is still hanging around that prior day. I want to see it break this trend down. It's pretty simple. Like, if it doesn't actually break the trend down, then you got to respect it. But yeah, initial move to start off, not looking overly strong for this market. That is for sure. AMD and Nvidia both still selling.
Yeah, we'll take a small position here at 467. We'll just put a 466 bid just in case it hits it. But yeah, what a wild start for Tesla. It did get right up into VWAP. So we're going to use that sort of as our high right there, maybe breaking through the 200 period of 471. So very, very light trading. This is what we did on Friday. We had to wait for our prices to come in, right? And so we'll do that, a break of 471, and we will get out of Tesla. But so far, so good here. As we're short, man, we wanted that 467 area. But see, like, we were just in the money about 70 cents, and then it ripped back up. So there it is. There's $1. There's $2 right now on. There it is. Yes, sir. Okay, man. I don't have my Stream Deck hooked up, but as you can see, we're doing it again right now. Neil beside me, Obi beside me. We don't discriminate over here. There it is. 464.88. Let's see if we can grab that $2. But there it comes right back in again. So take $1 early, and now let's wait to see. Okay, here it comes. There it is. Yes, sir, Neil. There it goes, man. Now it's $3 on your trade of the day so far. On Tesla. I mean, it is a nice move lower. Let's see if it can continue right there. As it was written, man, on your sticky note. I don't know, man. There it is. Tesla, 467 short. There's a 464 print. So it's $3 in the money. It's Tesla.
Yeah, Tesla going to the downside, but the market is actually coming back up in a hurry. As I just looked over, Intel is bouncing, Nvidia is bouncing, Bitcoin is also bouncing, getting close to that 88K level. We're at 87.7. It'll be about $50 in here if it does get to it. Silver still, really not doing much of anything, silver. It's hanging down around that 7%. We haven't made a fresh low, but it is attempting to break this trend. So this would be the trend line from the highs. Obviously, as you guys can see, it could actually break it at the open. I haven't really seen that happen very often, but silver catching a bit along with the market, as we are still red. But yeah, it's not the chips that's holding us up here, definitely. But look, the stock I'm looking at is going to be silver breaking trend. I'm not getting into any longs if it's not a trend break or above the volume weighted average price. But on Bitcoin, waiting for 50 bucks. It's at 88K level. That's going to be key for me. Okay, there's our trend break. So this one closes above the trend line on silver. I'm going to take the long. VWAP doesn't really matter to me at this point. I'd be looking for 67 even as a target on any kind of a long.
There we go, Jay Dizzle. The Katina man strikes again. Yeah, well, sometimes you get a little lucky there. We are, just trading what we trade, man, and doing what we do. So we're going to take some more out here. Okay, well, there it goes. I mean, we just got 464.50s. So let's just wait to see how low we can go. We're actually out of half now. For the $3. I mean, I don't know what this market's going to do, but we'll hit it again. Thank you so much there, Jay Dizzle. Oh, man, this feels good, man, to come in and be able to do this. So, yeah, we're only here for a half day, so this is, we've got to put the numbers on the board early. And there it is right now. It is $3 right now in the money on this Tesla trade. Let's put a bid lower in case it does fill us down there on this break of 464. I'm at 463.75 to see if we can get that one as well. So there it goes, man. Downside on Tesla. Let's see what Rivian's doing. I don't know. I mean, Tesla could still blow up against me. I don't know. We're just going to piece that out as we go. Yeah, Rivian down there to $20 as well. So that's a name definitely to be concerned with. If it does bounce off 20, that's a level that I do like. GameStop, I wanted to have a look at that too, trying to break through 20 bucks. That should be an interesting level. They're holding 21 now, up to 21.15. We'll see. Not too much volume going on there. SMR, I see that printing around just a little bit here as well. Down upside here for SMR, straight up, man, up to $15. Yeah, man, maybe this is the year of nuclear, and we'll have to see. Of course, we're still in 2025, which has been a great year to trade some of these names, but not recently. All the way to the downside right there goes SMR. All right, man, let's take another fill at 464. So we do that. We're still waiting for that 464 break, which already happened, but there it is. All right, man. We just got that 463.75, so that was a good fill for us. We got 463.74, so getting less and less here on Tesla, but there it goes, man. Nice trade on that one. What's up, Harlov? Thank you so much for that as well, man. Yeah. I mean, that's why we're here, right? We each have our strengths and weaknesses, and hopefully in trading is one of mine. And there it goes, 463 and change now, $4 in the money. So thanks there, Halrov. Much appreciated. What you got cooking over there? Silver, there we go.
Yeah, I just waited for our entry there on silver. Let's see if we can get the push into the quarters. Oh, that's right, it's an Amex stock. I hate the fact that it's Amex. That's whatever, formerly the Amex is what I should say, because my key's a little bit different. But we did have our trend break. We're looking for the play back into about 67, which is also the volume weighted average price. So it broke the trend. We just look for our reversion. Ultimately, you're down 7% here. So if you're mean reverting, what does that mean? It means you're going against the grain. So I always want to have a target in mind when it comes to silver. But watch out if you're looking at the overall market. The Nasdaq just broke VWAP and is going higher. AMD's starting to get a little bit stronger too. So this was the name I actually liked this. Whoops. Come on, chart. This is the name I liked all the way at 216 bucks. So it takes a lot of patience to want to be short this. But the other name where I was looking for the short might get there a little bit faster, and that would be Intel. It's been about 36.5 to 36.75 the last few sessions where this one has turned around. So that's where I'm looking for the curl. It'll be Intel first, the way that things are going right now, but this Nasdaq is really starting to go. You've got Nvidia also bouncing for anyone that's interested. That one's catching a very, very nice bid here. So a bit of a V-shape turn already. The real question is just how far is the V going to be able to go and carry through. I'm not completely convinced that you can't have a little bit of a turn when the Nasdaq tries to go green. And again, Bitcoin at 88,000 is also going to be a level for me, and we're approaching that. We're testing that right now. So I've got IBIT up, looking for a revert there. Kind of a similar entry. Kind of my chart. I want this to break higher, maybe give me a trend break at that 88,000 level, but IBIT is here and Bitcoin is at 88.
Yeah, wow. Okay, I'm going to short here the TQQs. I mean, this came right up to a level. Remember, we are getting out. Like, we don't need to be in these shorts if the market's actually going to do this too much. But we wrote down, so we're out of pretty much. We have about 20 to 25% left of Tesla. We'll see what that's going to do for us right here. But here goes 55 bucks, man. We wrote this down on the TQQs. Give it to 55.25 or so. So let's let this one breathe just a little bit here on the Nasdaq. NASDAQ, and we'll go short right now on the TQQs upside and see what winds up taking us out if it does. We will bid as well. Let's bid. Okay, there it goes. We got a 66 there on Tesla with a little bit of nervous action there as it comes all the way back to 467. But never fear, man. I mean, we're just going to go short the futures. It comes up to the level that we write down and on a huge move there. And I was just sort of thinking the market was going to be a short. There's really nothing. This is why we wrote down 55.25. We can get out of this if it does break too much higher than that. But we'll want to play a short side action play here on the TQs. And let's just see if we can play some kind of a range and get this back in. So right now we're short on the NASDAQ right here, right now. I'll put a bid down here just in case it, goes for a little bit of a jaunt down into 83 area or so. And then if we can get back into the mid 60s, then that would be something that we could take advantage. There it goes. We do get that 83 as well. So we'll see if we can now have diamond hands, which we apparently have, Neil, on Tesla right there. So I don't know. Again, our screen is off board a little bit there. I know you had silver. I'm going to get, there we go. We take another piece out on Tesla. So there it goes, Neil. Oh, from short to long. Oh, you flipped over on silver. Okay. So, or no, were you always long? You're always long, okay.
I'm short. IBIT's the short that I like.
Oh, IBIT's the short that you like, right.
Yeah.
So silver long, IBIT short right now. And by the way, there goes Tesla, now $4 in as we go right back to the lows of the day on TSLA.
And we waited for 50. The high on IBIT is like 49.90 something. I actually might have even hit 50 exactly. We're right at the $88,000 mark there on Bitcoin, but we're catching that curl, looking for VWAP as a target on this. We also have 3,000, which is approaching on ETH, which is going to be a big level as well, but I'm going to be focused on IBIT a little bit more than ETH. SLV went halfway, but it just couldn't quite make that break all the way into the volume-weighted average price. What's up with my scaling here? Is I have it's going to be that one bad wick. But we broke trend, got into the long and say I'm only taking trend breaks from down there, but the second it takes out that prior bar, I'm jumping out. Like I have a rule to get in, I'm going to have a rule to get out. Need to start making some higher lows for me to jump back into that bad boy. Looks like AMD's not going to quite get there yet in terms of resistance. We're up at 214 on AMD, only at 188 on Nvidia. AMD's actually stronger than Nvidia right now. That could go green, but it was Intel that I always thought was going to get there first, and that is looking like the case. So it tops out right at that 36.75. I'm just going to zoom out so you can see from the other day, and already starting to put in this nice retracement. So I'm going to try to get the 50 short here on Intel, as it was the first of the chip names to get to resistance. AMD still strong, Nvidia, kind of a meh. Oh, there was one name that I wanted to mention. It was Alibaba. Down 3%. No particular story here for Alibaba. Just gapping down into some support at about 147 in here. So far, so good. On my note, I said if it closes the 15-minute candle above 147, I'd look for a bounce play. But the bigger story at some point is going to be this trend break on BABA, which I still like. For now, it's been rejecting over and over and over again. All
right, guys. I've been looking. So we got a couple more outs here at 80s. I don't know if the market's going to go down there or what. Obviously, a lot of you asking me about silver right there. And yeah, I've been looking short on that thing, and I was talking about VWAP, so 66.50 or so would be, there it goes, man. Yeah, wow, bye-bye to that short side there. So yeah, it should have been a short right into there. Now it's breaking a little lower here on SLV. See you later on that one. Let's hope that the market can really start to go. I'm bidding 79s here. I just got those 79s. Okay, so we just got 79 there. Now the market looking to bleed a little bit lower now. Wow, Bitcoin's actually is on a nice run up to 88,000 again right there. So I only have 2 trades today, man, and it's short the futures, which came up in, which is the TQs. They're the Nasdaq, I should say. This is a triple levered ETF, so if you guys are watching out for what I'm doing, that's what I'm doing right there. It's not actually moving around that much. We did have one nice move, and in the last 6 or 7 minutes, we've sort of just been barcoding. It's a good thing we got the bottom there at least, but not much going on there. And then honestly, Tesla's been real chop, so that's 465. Why don't we just put another bid there, 465? I'm almost out of all of Tesla, and I'm starting to get a little disinterested in it just because of how much this can gap. We were just there at 463, right? Good thing we took a fill there, and now it's doing this kind of an action. So I'm not really in love with too much, of what's going on here on Tesla. Just too much back and forth and not really giving a direction. So I'm going to pass on that one. The only thing that I'm really, and I know Neil tried the long and got out of it, which was good, but I really like the short in silver. So, you know, that 50 period, we could watch out for that again, but I'm still going to try to be patient and wait for VWAP, and then GLD probably is following a similar pattern there. Yeah, it's even cleaner to the downside for gold. So gold getting hit a little bit more than silver there. And then AMD, we like the short early, but I haven't even looked at it right now. So yeah, well, there's the short early, but as the market takes off, look at AMD. Wow, ripping faces off to the north side goes AMD. Wow, great trading there if you manage to find a long in advanced micro devices. But yeah, we'll look at some more stocks as we go. It's only 9:43.
Yeah, also too, I know the small cappers, there's a couple of them that have been in there. That mask stock, remember we talked about VWAP? Yeah, it's not really holding that volume weighted average price. There was no particular story. They had an offering like 2 weeks ago, and it's done good volume, but still underneath the volume weighted average price is not going to do it. That's just not going to cut it for me. So I'm going to stay away from the masked one, despite how many people were involved or at least interested in that stock last week as a joke. So we're not really getting much of a secondary bounce here on Intel. Still going to look for that 36.5 as far as IBIT goes. I mean, it's holding, bit of a higher low here. I'm going to try to reload this in front of 50. Still looking for VWAP to come in. We're right at that, again, we're right at 88,000, and we've seen this story before at this price where you just sort of hang out for a bit. We've had a lot of consolidation at this price before and like multiple tests. So I want to see if we can actually, you know, follow through a little bit more, but I'm going to reload this a couple times, at least every chance that I'm able to. AMD seems built a little bit different right now. Like the market's good and trying to go green, but AMD's already green and not showing too many signs of slowing down. 216 is where I was waiting for short. So when it's this strong, I don't think you compromise. You wait till it at least tests up there. Hopefully you get like a topping tail candle, something really obvious, or a trend break. But yeah, it's AMD that seems to be leading us. Actually, you know what? Never mind. Micron as well. Micron's already green almost 1%. So both those names looking incredibly strong. I don't know if I'm going to be a huge believer in them just yet. And I like the fact that Intel's already starting to break down. But it just won't give me any 50s. That's the problem.
Hopefully some of you guys believed in our positions here today because I mean, we're 2 for 2, and we are absolutely monstrous over here. What's up, Kalua? Thank you so much for you in the chat cheering me on. I like that, man. I like that. Yeah, there it is. We do have a big trade alert happening right here, man. This is... Actually, this trade is smoking right here. It is our TQQ trade. Look at that move. Back to the end of that one. Let's go back to the futures on this one. Man, we are now... 40 cents in the money over here, which is a nice trade for me. And then we'll get bits and 57s. Why not? As we continue to kick it off right there. And then there goes Tesla as well. We actually got that dip right there to 465. We missed our 463. We're at 463.30. So let's go again. I'm just going to keep doing this, man. I mean, right now it's the futures, it's the TQQs that are really setting me off right now. So that's going to be, let's get another bid out. Let's bid some 58s, why not? All right, so we'll take it out there, 59s. We'll take it out there again on this one as it just continues to go. And this is just the same trade that we've been working on all day. There's the TQs, 55 bucks. So a good short on that one as that came right in, and we nailed that one to the wall pretty good right there. Tesla, I'm going to be off of that, man. I don't really know what's going on Tesla, so we sort of talked a little bit about that. Let's have a quick look to see what's going on in the maybe in the broader market, just real quick here. It's pretty red, needless to say, right? I mean, the bank's getting hit today as well. Nvidia's down 1.6%. Their Tesla's trying to rally right now as we speak. Broadcom, Meta also down. There's your Amazon. There's Tesla. Here's the healthcare technology. This looks like a little bit of a green shoot in the market right now. J&J, Danaher, Gilead, all of that. All right, I don't know if it's working in my ear or not, but I just heard Adara. Yep. There it is. What's up, Ramin? Thank you so much. Let's go over and find out what's going on with Adara.
I just saw a bit of a headline here at TSLA. It's pretty vague. I'll just tell you guys what I'm seeing. So apparently Netanyahu, of course, Benjamin Netanyahu of Israel, apparently discussing cooperation with Tesla, quote unquote, with Tesla CEO Elon Musk. Again, very broad, very vague headline. If I get more details, I'll let you know. It's also worth noting, we had a pre-market analyst note here from Stifel on TSLA with regards to its FSD update. So a couple little things on Tesla. That one with regards to Netanyahu, I just saw that's brand new, just came through the wire, at least here from what I'm seeing on X. So I want to let you guys know in about 13 minutes, we will get pending home sales updates. I will be giving those for you right here on this news desk. So make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the content.
you know, we noticed that Tesla was real choppy, and so I'm down now to like less than 10% of this trade. So actually about 10% actually of this trade right now. We're short at 67. So yeah, now things have changed a little bit, right? So if we can get like a 66.50 or so here on Tesla, let me just put that bid out. Maybe it comes through and we get it. I don't really know what this means for the stock, but obviously when there's news that we haven't traded on before and we are now trading on now, it's worth, you know,
I wouldn't assume that is somehow, why would that even bump the stock?
Yeah, that's what I mean. So I'm going to get out of it not understanding it. I mean, we understand how to trade around here, and I'm going to get away from that because look what's happening right here. And the biggest trade of the day, anyways, for me, is going to be, well, the Tesla's a big trade too, but there goes the futures right down there to the downside. Bye-bye TQQs. So far, so good there on our posted level. So we'll just wait on Tesla. There it is. So we get out at 66.50. All right, now we have about 7.5% or so left. Let's see how far Tesla wants to go down on this one. But oh boy, we're having ourselves a great day, man. We'll pay for a little bit of gas to get down to Buffalo. I'm gone here at 2 p.m. You'll see Neil and Obi, which should be a good one there for you guys. And then tomorrow, Obi and Neil again. So hopefully you got some bangers going on here. Neil's got the short on IBIT, and we've got the short on the futures here and on Tesla.
Yeah, and looks like Alibaba's going to do the hold for me. So I'm looking for that long off the lows here. On the 15-minute, all I wanted to see is stock hold 147. So it wicked the bottom. You're holding a higher low. You can break trend above VWAP, or we can wait for something closer to 147. IBIT was able to catch a reload. It still hasn't gotten all the way down to the volume-weighted average price, but you're back underneath 88K, and it's also putting in lower highs. So a couple of lower highs already. We're able to get 50s the first time, 49.9 the second. If it keeps doing this, then I guess we can be shorting it at better prices, or I guess in theory worse prices on a downward trend. But that's what I'd like to see. Don't want to jump into this one willy-nilly yet on silver, but it might have just been that initial trend break at 930. Could have been early. It's now double bottomed. If it can put in a higher low, maybe hold VWAP, then I can jump back into this one for the long. But I want to see some confirmation on SLV. So we're going to look for reloads continuously on IBIT as long as we're able to get them. And yeah, that strength, whoops, blue ocean. That strength that we see in silver, I want a little more confirmation for sure. Because with that first early trade, broke trend, but that's still at 930, 935. Things are whipping around a heck of a lot. I want to see higher lows before I jump into any kind of a long. Intel, still looking for that same short, 36.5, as we'll go back to my left.
All right, here goes Tesla to the downside, but we want you to make sure you do not forget about the exciting news out of Canada with Beta Pro by Global X. They are Canada's largest provider of leveraged inverse and inverse leveraged ETFs, and has just launched 6 new triple levered ETFs, 3 times bull and 3 times bear exposure to the S&P TSX 60, semiconductors, and U.S. Treasuries. And hey, this is almost up. Right now, they do have a fee rebate, just 65 basis points until December the 31st. Plus, this is a focus on U.S.-based strategies, so they do have the hedging of the US dollar. So go make sure you do check them out. betapro.ca/3 times. Go check these guys out. So thank you to Beta Pro and Global X for continuously sponsoring our stream right there. All right, man. We're doing it again. So yes, sir, man. Good trading over there, Neil. And yeah, right now this is going. And look, man, it doesn't take many trades to hit your goals. And there it goes one more time here for the TQs, man. On Friday, we nailed it with Nvidia. Now, I made 4 times as much money on Nvidia that I'm making here today on these 2 trades, but I still like it. There goes the Nasdaq, really getting crushed right now. Good thing we still actually have half of that trade on. So pretty happy with that one. And then there goes Tesla right back into 465 again. Let's just put a bid right there. I was waiting for 465.25. Let's see if we get a little bit lower. We'll take a 465 fill and then just get going. What's up, Mike P. DeRider? Hope you're doing well, my guy. And there goes the TQs, man, right back in one more time to that downside. So yeah, we'll take another fill here. It's at the 50-period moving average. This is generally something where we want to be able to take something out. So there it goes. We'll take a piece out there at 40 as we miss that exact bottom. And now we'll wait to see if we do get into 54.10 or so right now on the TQQs. So good trading over there so far. You know, the recent buyout, I was in and out of this. I know Neil could talk more about it. I've stopped trading it, but this has been a great one, man, this DBRG. So just back and forth, a couple outs, just making the spread there. Not enough money in it for me, but DBRG back and forth and back and forth. So you guys could definitely, if you're part of you know, real trading and you want to just sit there and collect those rebates, that's good for you guys. Robinhood, another name there for going up and down again. There goes Robinhood, 117 in change right now. That's pulled back nicely too into the 200 period. That's why it's showing up on my scanners right here, Robinhood right there. Apple as well, maybe in PayPal it's telling me to look at, but there comes Robinhood right back into 117, so still down that 1%. But I'm going to focus on some of the trades that we do have on right now. We're $4 in the money, right? So we're $3.50 in the money on Tesla, plus another 50 cents in the money right here on the Nasdaq. So we'll wait. I'm bidding here 32s to get out of another piece of this, and then we'll wait after that and see what's going on. I mean, the market's pretty much where we opened now. We had a little bit of a dump off early, right into there, a nice rally back, and now we just bounced off clean off the 50. So I'm going to get out another piece if I can now on the Nasdaq at 43s, which we just got hit, and then we'll wait to see if it does pull back. But there goes Tesla. Yes, we actually. Oh no, we did not get that. I'm down here at 463.40s. What it just bounced off 50s. Okay, so I'll put a bid at 50. See if we get that. It's all good. Either way, we have very, very small amounts of shares left there on Tesla. So we'll put a bid out there, and we just got the low of the day. So far, so good there on TSLA. Yeah, not much interesting news today hitting the markets, guys.
Not a lot of crazy news in terms of catalysts. You'll usually be pretty light this week. We're going to get Fed meeting minutes on Wednesday. I guess that'll be, we'll see. I mean, we always want to see how the rates are looking like, but we're probably not going to get that cut in January. IBIT got to target, so we pulled right back into it. The prior close is completely irrelevant. It's a 24-hour market, but there was a level in here at 49.6. It was VWAP at the time I got into the trade, so that's where I was bidding. But if we catch a bounce, still going to look for lower highs here on IBIT. If we hold under VWAP, then I would just short it under Friday's resistance, which is like 49.8. But until we get the next bounce, we'll just be on to the next, which was looking for a fade in Intel, another topping tail candle. I'll just use a 15-minute with this. It's way easier. Just so you can see how many times we've had topping tail candles up here at about 36.5. So I'm into it. I'll give it to this lower high at about 60. It's just above 60. So just not really 60, 36, 65, but pretty much adjacent to that. We'll pull back into 36.4 and then look for 36 as potential support. It's about a 1.5 range that the stock has been able to put in. AMD got smoked back in. That is, what did Sharif call it? Bearish engulfing candle? Yeah, that's what the 15 is on AMD. From the strongest or one of the strongest names to right back down into the bid. If you lose 211 here, then things could just get nasty for AMD. But I'm going to allow this one to calm down. I liked it up in the top end here at about 216 to 216.5. It didn't really get all the way there, unfortunately. Intel did, so we're into it. So we'll look for that reload on IBIT. As far as I'm concerned, we'll just look trend down there, and now we're into Intel, as all of those strong chip names are starting to evade and head right back in, with the exception of maybe Micron. Micron's still in the green as everything else starts to pull back there. So hey, if you like the memory space, it's still stronger than the rest of the chip space, it seems. Yeah, Micron looking pretty good. I'll try to get this VWAP here on Intel. You can already see the topping tail a couple times. You guy, what about says what about silver? Still not convinced yet. It's only now putting in the higher low. So now you get the higher low, but no VWAP hold. So I want to see this start to break out. Show me that you're actually going to be putting in some strength. Like we already took the trend break, we got about halfway, and then couldn't follow through. I'm willing to be patient with it. Patience has been the way to play. Be specific about what you're looking for in terms of an entry. And if it doesn't happen, then don't take the trade, right? Like trading's hard enough, but you have to have some kind of a plan of action. And if you don't, you'll find yourself sort of all over the place.
Yeah, that is for sure. As we get into the lows of the day here on Tesla, you know, we can go check out Rivian. We're now $5 in on this Tesla trade, but we don't have too much left. And I'm pretty happy being out of most of it, well, pretty much all of it right now. Rivian does bounce off $20. It's going opposite right now of Tesla as Rivian goes back upside. But again, not too much volume kicking around right there. Oh man, like this 467 that we wrote down, I mean, that was so good. And the only time we could have reloaded it was on that news. And, you know, I don't know what that was all about there with Israel, but there it goes to the downside. It forced me to get out a little bit there at 466 and then again at 465. And we just took a 463.50 because that was the low of the day. Now we'll just wait to see how much further this wants to bleed, right? We do have that, there's that buyout. We have Coinbase we can talk about quickly here as that also got downgraded today. So watching out for Coinbase with a nice move to the downside there. What's up, Adara?
So just to clarify, there were not a lot of downgrades. As I said earlier, Needham actually cut the price targets only, but they did maintain a buy rating. Same for Robinhood as well.
Okay, yeah, so not much going on today, but Coinbase does get that low move right back into the 50-period moving average again. Okay, I'm still short. Like we said, we do know that there's a problem with the position board. All right, so 54.43s, there we go. I'll get a fill, and it pops right back in again. So it's okay. Yeah, there it goes. Yeah, so yeah, it's gone again. So that's okay. We know what the problem was. We just got to get it fixed. So we're working on that as we have some people on vacay. There we go. I'll take another fill, and we'll put it right back up there again. So all right, yeah, that's Coinbase. What I keep doing is just getting out a little bit on the TQs right here at the 50-period moving average. It's really Tesla that's continuously moving. I'm 2 for 2 today. We have Tesla, and the only trade that we're missing, and I'm just trying to be as specific as I can be right here, and that is just following off of what we've talked about ourselves. We have U.S. pending home sales coming out right here. We wrote down silver short, check, right? That's been a good one. Rivian, $20 long, that never hit. TQQ short 55, I mean, that speaks for itself right there. And then Tesla are 467 short. So, you know, we've just been very, very disciplined, doing what we do best. You know, I got to pride myself on trying to be disciplined here. So let's just wait to see if we do get a move down. We'll go over to Adara now. It's not, yeah, it's 9:50, 9:30, pending home sales in a matter of seconds. Let's go see what Adara's up to.
We've got about 30 seconds here now, 20 seconds until this pending home sale number. Forecast here 0.9%. Previous 1.9%, so we are expecting a bit of a drop here. Still positive number, but lower than prior. Pending homes index, not seeing a forecast, but the previous print here is going to be 76.3. So now we've about 5 seconds until these pending home sales numbers. 3.3% here for the actual print for pending home sales month for month. So that is much higher than that forecast of 0.9% and the previous print of 1.9%. Again, a 3.3% uptick here in pending home sales month over month. Pending homes index 79.2, higher than the previous print of 76.3. Maybe take a look here at some home-related names, including Open Door and this type of catalyst. But in the meantime, we're going to take a look at the Nasdaq, which is dropping a bit. It is kind of range bound, a bit choppy here action for this market, including the QQQ, which I have up here. We bounced really nicely here off the open, now giving back all of that move, but still above, actually well above pre-market lows. So let's see if we can get out of this range here on the market. I do want to talk about some other plays. SLV is going to be on watch along with these other precious metals, including silver, gold, platinum, and palladium. We do have a pullback here in these metals following a really strong look here last week. NVO also going to be on watch here. Novo Nordisk trying to bounce here off these pre-market lows, but we do have a report coming out of a Chinese local news outlet suggesting that the company's cutting some of its prices in regions in China. Before we send you back to Neil and Sean, we're going to take a moment to thank our friends at Origenics, OGEN, on the NYSE, because there are millions of concussions, but 0 approved therapies. Origenics, trading on the NYSE as OGEN, is advancing a new standard with its intranasal brain-first approach to concussion treatment. With an $8.9 billion market on the horizon, Origenics is positioned to drive what comes next. So see what's ahead and book a meeting today. Thank you to Origenics, and back to you.
Thank you very much there, Adara. There are some small cappers that got mentioned, and thank you again for Adara mentioning the story here with ORBS. Orbs is up 43%. They announced a buyback program of up to $125 million, which obviously is a significant amount of money if you're a small cap company, but not necessarily that big of a buyback for most names. Just keep in mind, the daily chart, this one is not good at all. Has not really done anything but drop since coming to market. And it's at resistance at 250. So I would play this with a little bit of caution, chasing that move. But buybacks are generally a good thing. You just don't see it as often as a catalyst for a small capper. If you're looking for the reload in Intel as the market trying to bounce, if we can get the $0.50 again, we'll go for it. We're bouncing off VWAP as we speak. And as far as Bitcoin goes, that's at 87.3, still trending down. It didn't really consolidate underneath VWAP or underneath Friday's, I guess we'll call that like afternoon resistance. It was really more at the close. But I can wait for it. The next available pop, we're going to look to be short back into that one as well. And look, we were really looking for potentially something going in Alibaba, and it's starting to go. There was no particular catalyst. I know it's down 2.7%, and you won't really see many things moving double digits at this point. But just a gap down, it happens to some of the Chinese stocks every now and then, just some weakness. But it is closing now above the volume-weighted average price. Going to hop on the bid here at 147 and about 3/4 here for Alibaba. Hasn't cared too much that the U.S. market has been weak, but then it doesn't have to.
No. I mean, the U.S. market today, a weak start, but we started the day off pretty weak. So we're actually sort of where we were on the pre-market levels. We had broke below right here on the Nasdaq. So we're still doing. I mean, our stocks keep on going lower here, so I don't know what to do other than just let's hold on to Tesla and see if we can get a little bit of a better talk there with Tesla lower, and then the Nasdaq. We'll see if we can touch out near some of these pre-market levels, which would be pretty nice. So I am now officially done. Well, we just got a fill right there at 35. My next fill is the low of the day here into the 20s, while the low of this recent move right off the open is where we're looking. So if we can catch that, then so far so good on that bid, 54.25, and then we'll hold the rest and see if we can really get low into 54 flat. I actually might as well just put a bid there. You never know what's going to hit. So we'll go to 54.10 and see if there's a magical way that we can somehow capture that bid down there at 54.10. So yeah, Apple keeps on hitting this yield scanner over there. Let's go, Tesla. Tesla Neil right now is $5 in the money as we keep on going to the downside there for Tesla as we get a little excited right there. Lots of excitement coming your way. Obi and Neil this afternoon, and then Obi and Neil tomorrow. I'm going to be back on whatever day the next day is. I think New Year's Eve at some point. Right there, 273.40 right now. I'm coming to see you fine people of upstate New York. We'll be in Buffalo tonight and tomorrow as my daughter's in some sort of a showcase tournament there for hockey, and we're really proud of her to do that. And I'll be supporting them, obviously, on that journey as we get ready for rep baseball as well. So it's going to be busy times in the Katina household. But yeah, Apple, a nice move up today for sure, and holding VWAP right now, something to look at there for Apple. But there it goes, man. Tesla, just the bleed is on. We wrote down that 467. We got it, man. If you're joining us for the first time, make sure you do follow me every day if you can, and grab out all of us, man. Neil has a note there about silver as well. You can go find all of our notes right here. But there it is, man. Target, bang. TQs, man. We wrote down $55. That's the short that we have. Short Tesla, we wrote down 467. We didn't even update that trade, and that's where that one's going. Silver short, Rivian long, Tesla short, Tesla and TQQs as well. That Tesla's really breaking a lot lower now, man. There it goes. Huge move through 462 right now. It's funny because we wrote down on the note 460 incoming on that 467 break. Just wish we would have held it all until we get to that level. But hey, man, made our day right there. It's only been 35 minutes so far this market. We've made about a day and a half so far. So, we're not here all day. So we're pretty happy with that one. We did not, though, get our 25 bid. We'll get that soon on the TQQs. But yeah, so far so good. Oh, a move that was going upside here was Netflix. So shout out to Netflix. I think it got to like 95 or so. Yeah, so $95 to Netflix. Now all the way back down again. So a pretty good name to trade if you're looking for names right now. NFLX. Obviously lots of news with Warner Brothers. And that
There's
deal
more
looks like
speculation there.
Yeah, I think that deal is going to get done there. So congratulations, Netflix. Should be fun to put all. There it goes. Did we just get that?
There were rumors of potentially that it might not be over for. There might be still a higher bid.
All right.
Potentially coming from. We'll see. I don't really think the Ellisons are going to kick in for more, but there's been talk of like $33. Just nothing material just yet, unfortunately. I still think if you get the 30, you take it on WBD. And Netflix has had zero reason zero reason whatsoever to move their bid higher. They don't have to because the board's going to be favoring it, but it's giving it up. It's all V shapes pretty much across the board, or A's, like V shape, whatever. V shape would be down. But you're reversing almost the entirety of the move, still with like some kind of a pop to get back into IBIT. But now all of a sudden AMD is holding under VWAP. It never really gave me the top end of the range, but if we can play underneath the volume weighted average price, we can join this move. This was one that I actually preferred this one, but it just was at 216 and above, and we're holding underneath prior lows. So that's the structure that I like. If we get back into VWAP, we'll take that one short. We're at VWAP right now in Intel and trying to break down. You've got Nvidia also breaking down through the low of the day. It was really just Micron that was holding up, and even this is starting to abate. Like this could easily join the party, and if the data names go down, if the memory names go down, they've been the only place in the chip space that has shown any kind of strength. So yeah, unfortunately, I'm not really seeing much of anything that's going to hold us up here. Gonna cancel on IBIT. VWAP's a bit of a moving target, but we're at the lows, just looking for any kind of a bounce to jump back into that short. Haven't seen many longs that we like here today, unfortunately. Alibaba's potentially one, as it's trying to bounce off of VWAP. And again, Chinese names don't necessarily have to follow the overall market, but until I see buyers holding this higher low and we get a little bit of break back up, I'm not just going to sit in front of a falling knife as we're headed right back into LOD. That's what I'll look for. If we get that 2 points on Intel, great, but otherwise going to be patient looking for this bob along.
Oh man, yeah, we just have been patient holding on to these shorts. The Nasdaq is now broke, or it's right back basically to where we opened. So we nailed the short there. We talked about it being a range kind of day. So far so good on that one as it continues to go a little bit lower. We do have a little look here. We did have a nice aggressive move for Bitcoin earlier, so you can have a quick little look to see what Bitcoin's up to right now. So here's Bitcoin. It's not doing a whole heck of a lot right now, but this is a daily chart. So if we zoom in, you're going to see that we just had a move over to 94,000 back in early December. We just touched out there on the 50-period closing moving average right there. That was $90,500, and then whoops, right back in again. So we'll see if Bitcoin can hold this 85 and change area right now. As you go over here and you look at the 10-minute chart, do not need a 30-day free trial. Wow, okay, Bitcoin just went whoops and whoops again. So upside, downside right there for BTC as the market goes boom, it looks like right now to the downside, and it looks like Bitcoin wants to indeed follow that one. Today's buyout is DBRG, so everyone, thank you so much for watching us. We did have this one earlier when it was halted, and it's been doing nothing all day, which is perfect for the rebate traders, and so that's going to be a good trade there. Hopefully you guys are on this one and making a little bit of cash today with DBRG, as it looks like it wants to continue its movement here nowhere. So that's going to get done at $16. We'll see if that's going. But yeah, right now we'll see these futures. We just got it.
Money,
yes, sir. Okay. Yeah, good trading there on this name as we get the futures. Nice little downside play there. As there it goes, man. We just hit about, I don't know how many handles. This was 100 or so handles there on the Nasdaq. We have the top of the day, and now we basically have that low, and that's just because we just sat there and took it, right? So sometimes you got to get lucky when you get those fills, and it looks like we did do that right there on the Nasdaq. So yeah, so far so good, man. Thank you so much, Salvador, and everybody there in the chat as well. Nvidia could have been a trade earlier too. I just didn't make it. Like that was right there at the 200 period moving average. So that could have been a short that I could have had as well right there. We did not. So let's see what this market wants to do. I'm going to put a stop on Tesla. My stop on this was a break. Well, when we took this trade, we actually didn't even really put in a stop other than the 50 period moving average. But I'm going to now use this right there to get out. So if we break above, even right into here, we could wait for 464. Yeah, let's just wait for 464. We don't have too much left. 464.10s or so, and we'll get out of Tesla. We'll just put that in right here. 464. Let's just go 11s. Let's just do that exactly. There it goes, right? So the least we can get on that would be $3. But we only have a small piece left anyways, which is why we're not super aggressive that. So yeah, Mike DeRider likes shorting, sorry. What's up, Eclectic Passion? Rock and roll, man. There it is. Yeah, congrats. Congrats to you, too. Congrats to anybody that's been having these again. There goes Netflix going to the downside. Okay, KT, make sure you do hit the like, subscribe, get into our chat. You got to be there with a subscription, just free. Just hit subscribe, and you'll be in our chat, and we can, therefore, look at some of the trade ideas that you give us.
And I see Newsbot putting an interesting story there. I don't know if that's true. Yeah, I don't know if that's going to be true. JP Morgan Chase Bank collapse in silver margin call. Yeah, I don't necessarily think we have to worry about JPM. But whether their traders have gotten in too deep, I could see some unwinding. As people go into that bull run in silver, it has been parabolic. But I got target on Intel. It just double barreled the prior close at 36.20. So if we get another bounce, we'll look to short it again up here in the 36.5 to 36.6 range. And as you can see, IBIT came all the way back into VWAP. So we got target on Intel, but we're back into Bitcoin. It's right back at about 87.5. So as long as 88 holds underneath, we like it. We like lower highs, so we'll try to continue to be short this name. Just jumping over to, why didn't I get Alibaba? That's a really good question. I must have accidentally canceled this when dealing with another order, because that did come into VWAP. So I'll slap a fail on myself. I must have canceled that order accidentally. I was trying to get VWAP here on Alibaba, still holding down 2.8%, but holding some higher lows. The market's at the lows. This is making higher lows, so I still want to favor the long side here on BABA. I don't think it fills in the gap, but at least it can trend upside when everything else is going down. Adara?
Just be aware, guys, more geopolitical headlines here on Watch. IFX reporting that Ukraine trying to attack Putin's residence here in the Novgorod region. Then TASS reporting that the Russian foreign minister is saying that Russia is going to be changing its negotiating position as a result, saying, quote, Russia will retaliate. So renewed geopolitical tensions here in Ukraine and Russia as we continue to hear about a potential ceasefire here. Back to you.
All right. Yeah, so I don't know, a lot of people talking there about that JP Morgan action there, but we are now short, obviously, on the Nasdaq. So we'll take another bid here at 54.04 as we hear possible more tensions arising, globally. That could help with the metal trade. Actually really haven't done that much since the open. I mean, we did have a nice move down for silver, but the last time I checked it was 7%. It's now 7% as well. So we'll wait for silver at 67.50. I still like that as a short, but we are moments away from that. I mean, that's got to get going until that hits. And if it does, great. But if it doesn't, we don't need to trade any silver today. Intel's hitting, but Neil just talked about Intel already. We looked at Amazon early this morning. I don't even really... The story was something about Italy or something.
Story.
Yeah, drone story. So it wasn't that much going on there. So as the market falls down, we're happy to be short. But Amazon kind of just getting back into its day area right there. I wanted to check out Google because this is going to be the one name that I really do want to buy on any weakness, if there is any at all. Tesla starting to go back upside right now. So we're almost going to get stopped out of that one, which is fine by me. There goes Tesla, nicely cooking now. There it goes, breaking, what did I put down there? 460, didn't I put down? Oh, I'm out. Okay, good. I say, didn't I put down 464? So there's the break on Tesla, man. And that's a moneymaker right there. So we're out of Tesla. I actually wound up making more money on the TQQs than I do on Tesla. So we will always go back to the futures if we get a trade there. So we'll put a bid now at we punch out at 20 there, get a little piece out as it looks like the market may have made the lows temporarily for now, and off a little bit of a bump back up into pre-market lows, which is fine by me. We cleared out a lot. This is why it's my number one stock today is going to be the TQQs. So yeah, right now the only position I guess that's relatively new, and you've been shorting IBIT the whole day, so it's not that new, would be that one. And then SMR I'm just seeing right now on a sort of a scanner as well. Yeah, pulling back to VWAP. So nice move today for SMR, Sam Michael Roberts, but it is making a move back into VWAP. So watch out for there. 1470, 1460, 1450 is great. That's a 200 period. So if we can get something in and around there, I think we like that one. Yeah, thank you so much, Salvador. I mean, look, we talk about this all the time, and that was just, you got to make calls. That's what trading is about, making calls. And Obi and I talked about that. You just try to put the odds in your favor. And I liked that trade on the TQQs. So there it was, man. It went right to 55 and fell. Yeah, I don't, lucky, but not really, Salvador. We come in, we do the work for a reason, and that is to be better prepared and look for trades to hit. And when the Nasdaq was down today, I was feeling short. So, oops, that's the daily chart. We don't want that one here. This is it for the TQQs. This is why we picked 55. It was right into here. So it was just, looked like some support there from Friday, and I didn't think we would actually rip up into there as early as we did, but once we did that, we were able to sit there. I was actually waiting for more shares, but we didn't get those, so that's okay. And now we are almost out of everything here as we hold, guess what, 5%. Yeah, Santa Claus rally not happening today. Doesn't mean it won't happen, though. It's like a couple news stories, and this market, of course,
Remember,
can fly.
what was the average on the Santa Claus rally? Like like statistically 1.3%, or I don't know. Michael would know it, or you can maybe look it up online. Like, it's so infinitesimally small relative to the time period that whether we're down 0.5% one day or whatever, it doesn't really affect it much. Like, what would we have to do tomorrow to reverse this move? And then you could, in theory, you could just be down 0.3, 0.4, 0.7, have like 2.5% day, and oh, whoops, we had a Santa Claus rally. So like, I tend to think that people overthink that. It's a statistical, historically over time, this is the average kind of deal, as opposed to, well, we should just go in and buy every single day, which I don't necessarily agree with. I think it's just kind of like ludicrous. I just overall understand that if you see some big heavy dips, maybe it gives you an opportunity to go into the long. But the lower high just came in here in IBIT. I'm gonna go with like the top, like earlier we were getting lower highs before, but now we're getting a topping tail on that same trend line. So we're back into that. Ooh, Intel's bouncing nicely. And right after I missed the bid on Alibaba at VWAP, it kind of broke that higher low. Or sorry, yeah, the higher high, I should say, and starting to really trend upside. So I'm gonna look to grab it above the range at 148. If I can't get that VWAP here at like that 3/4, we're just gonna try and get that 48 and give it back into the quarter. So BABA still relatively strong, trending up most of the morning. I don't want to call it like all morning, but it's been trending up most of the morning here and still looking pretty good. Let us know what names you were looking at in the chat. Let's be real. I know there's some small cappers that are moving around. One of them was Mask, but if you are going to be in the chat, you need to hit that subscribe button. It's a subs only chat. And if you jump into the chat and you want to talk about a name, just put $ in the symbol. Mask, unfortunately, the one that we had some fun with a bit of a troll, did gap up today and has been still losing and more losing. It's right back into the lows. And we're going to talk about it here with a small cap recap, potentially, I don't know, with Adara, but this one can't seem to get up a VWAP. So it's not going to be a trade for me, unfortunately.
It actually is in the small cap recap, Neil. So we are going to talk about Mask, but first we're going to talk here about ORBS. HCO is the name of the company. They are one of these digital treasury, asset treasury type companies, trading higher after announcing a $125 million share buyback program. Now, it's worth noting here, Dan Ives is chairman of their board. That is, of course, the Wedbush analyst. So interesting look there. SOPA, or SOPA as it's being called here on this desk, Society Pass, one of their subsidiaries, which is called Thoughtful Media Group, has announced the launch of their TMG Social. So SOPA has some news with its subsidiary. This stock also has rallied in the past. This is a repeat offender, as we sometimes call it. And last but not least, MASK. 3E Network Technology Group. This one was actually on our morning watch list as well, which you can always get for free. Now, this isn't a new catalyst for this name, but on December 19th, which, Neil, ironically was the same day that we started getting people putting MASK in the chat, later that evening, the company announces the closing of a $2 million convertible promissory note offering. MASK, you can find more about on our morning watch list, as I mentioned earlier. Relatively small float, couple million share float, couple $1 million market cap, 8% short float for MASK. And make sure to like and subscribe as we send you back to Sean and Neil.
Thank you, Adele.
Mask.
Yeah.
You know what? I was thinking about,
I'm the Mask.
this is going to be completely off topic, but like there's some, I was thinking about like what kind of comedies that I used to watch that my daughter could see. And I know the Mask is Jim Carrey, and the first one that came to mind was, you know what? I showed her a clip of Ace Ventura Pet Detective.
Yeah.
And I was like, she might be into that, but I haven't seen it in a while, and I remember there being some pretty inappropriate stuff in there, but like off the top of my head, I can't remember. No, Ace Ventura.
Yeah. I think they're probably.
I'm like, how bad is it for an 8-year-old? Because she laughed at the stuff that I showed her,
8-year-old,
but I don't remember the kind of humor. Usually Jim Carrey's pretty good.
Most of that stuff will just go over her head.
I'm sure it's fine.
I think it's fine.
No, but the thing is, you know, at that age, man, they just start repeating everything. And
yeah, but she'll be fine. I mean, Anyways,
But I loved,
it'd be
man. Look, Jim Carrey's an absolute legend.
Yeah, of course.
And
Best.
that was a great movie.
He exposed Hollywood like 15 years ago.
Oh God, he was doing that way before. Actually, there was a few other people that were doing it too. It wasn't just him, but there were a lot of dudes that were letting you know that Ricky Gervais was certainly one of them as well. But that's what comedians are for. All right, so for the first time today, I'm in a long in Alibaba. Again, I obviously missed VWAP here, but I have 3 points on the trend line now, so I'll go with the trend line. So 1, 2 on a 3-minute chart, 1, 2, and then 3 dips into trend. So I'm long in front of the trend line. If it breaks the trend, I am going to be out. IBIT's still doing the same thing, kind of pulling back. Oh, you know what's distinctly different? All of a sudden, Intel looks a little bit stronger than it was before. So just going back to the same, it's like the only same names I'm looking at, but Intel was a short off of this 36.5 zone. It bounced right at 36.25. So let it play back into the high. If it puts a topping tail candle in, then I try to short it again. If it doesn't, I don't know if I want to fight that too much. And the only other name that we took, which you could trade on Blue Ocean in SLV, by the way, but I'm not going to.
Right.
It's a heller. It's whatever comes on the drop down for me. It's just in its first for no reason because AM alphabetically is higher. You're going to go SSR on SLV, which would be short sell restricted. I've never actually seen that on an ETF. That being said, I don't necessarily think that something like SSR for any kind of commodity would matter. Like if I was looking at an individual stock and it went 10% down and it was something that I liked on a dip buy, I like that for a bit of a play. But I'm not thinking SSR and 10% is going to mean too much here for SLV. I took my shot. I said the only thing I want are trend breaks. So when it broke the trend, that's when I took my shot, and it just didn't follow through. But you got to be able to get away from it. If I start fighting because I just think it's a long, no. I think it's a trend break long, and when I take the trend break, that either works or it doesn't. There was something where you were saying traders got to take calls.
Yeah.
I'm actually different. Like in my philosophy has been completely different. I could care less about whether being right on a call. Can you make a trade? Like there's a difference between a call and a trade. Like a call, like okay, I think Alibaba's a long, but where, when, how?
Yeah, that's the call. Yeah.
Like it's okay. So I can say that I want a 15-minute candle closing above 15. Closing above 147. If that happens, I want to look for a long on structure. So we get a 15-minute green. There's the open. It closes green. I obviously missed the dip into VWAP. That's on me. So the next available trade is going to be holding the trend line. So I'll go long in front of the trend line. But you still have to have an entry point. Like ideally, it would have been VWAP in here when that 15-minute closes above and then gives me that higher low dip. So if you get the trade, you just try to put it on and then let the odds be in your favor or forever in your favor. However,
that's it, right? So
how does that line go again?
Make the call forever. I don't know, something about Hunger Games. May the
odds
be in your favor.
I only watched that movie.
Yeah, I haven't really watched it either.
Yeah, it's a good quote.
It's a good quote, good movie for sure. And there it is, man. So we will end our trade right there on, again, exactly what Neil said, man. Make a call, get involved there, and we made a call at $55 for the TQs, doing exactly what Neil said, looking at charts, looking at closes and all that. So there it is, man, $55, and now ending it again on the out right there, getting out right there. We had less than 5%. We had 5% left here, and we got it filled. So probably about 2.5%, 3% left on that one. And that's it, man. It's 10:25. Now let's look to see if we can make another call on something. All right, so futures, I would honestly think about reshorting right here because it's at VWAP, but that was enough to get me out now. Now we can just sort of calm down. We don't need to just go right back into the exact same trade again. So let's just wait. Maybe it might be right, but use it as our out. So let's calm down, settle down, and see if there is a better trade. So Apple, we know we like the Apple long. We're sort of hoping that was a little lower than where it was right now, but that's obviously with the futures going up. We don't have that one. And then SMR, man, we indicated that at that low as well, VWAP, but that's not moving a whole heck of a lot. Oh, the other name was Robinhood, actually, that made a move back in and then bounced off the 200 period. Yeah, so it was Robinhood right there. SoFi, actually, I think was making some moves today as well. 26.50, I think, was the open. Yeah, so that went up to 27.40 and faded back to the 200 period again. So I think those are good little levels to look at. Disney was hitting the scanners a little bit. Ooh, that's nicely up to 114. I wasn't expecting that move. Disney's been real nice for the month of December, right? I mean, good little low there at 102, up to 113. Wow. Let's put some respect on Disney's name, up 10% this month, which is strange. We don't get that too often in this market, it doesn't seem like anyways.
Disney hasn't seen many 10% months.
Yeah, no, that's a weird one, but we'll take it, obviously. Broadcom, again, hitting off another key level. If you like the AI trade, right here, 330 for Broadcom. I mean, how good has that been down there? You would have got an opportunity to buy some 330s over the last couple of weeks, right into there. Oops, there's the split. And then Broadcom right there, good levels, back up now to 350. So looking to see if we can get above the 200 period break on this. Sorry, this is the 50 period break. That's great. 365 or so. We can get above there. You'll get rid of all that garbage. And then you'll clear out this as well, and then back up to the upside goes Broadcom. So I think a 365 or so break on that one. It's still a minute away before we get there. And the other name that we are looking at is Rivian. So that's off on the way back up. It looks like the market hopefully don't want to say hopefully washed out shorts, but maybe it did, and the market can resume what everyone's waiting for is a Santa Claus rally. So we'll see if that wants to continue to go a little bit higher there. Santa Claus came to our house very aggressively this year, man. That guy, I don't even know how he fits down the chimney. I don't even have one. But there goes 1480.
Magic.
Yeah, I guess so. Magic. Yeah, the magic of that. Tesla made its way all the way back, so that was a good clear out of Tesla. Potentially going to short the 200 period there, which is 468. So maybe we do that one again, but. Shortened day for me, only a half hour left, but we can still be actively trading. So we'll just continue to look for some more opportunities. I know we seem to be on the same names, Mask and whatnot on the midday. Obi will be here. So I don't know what he's trading. I could ask him, but he'll be here in about a half hour to discuss all of that.
I'm going to make a strong guess that well, you know what? I haven't looked, but I'm going to guess the metals. The last time he actually looked at GLD over silver, which I don't know if that's the route I would go, but it doesn't really make a difference. Like, they're both incredibly weak. If we could come to the chart for a second. We've been talking about silver because it moves more. Like, SLV is down 10% or 9.5%, whatever it is, and GLD is down half that. So you're just going to see more action in one over the other. That said, I've got to respect the fact that this trend could break here. So I put a stop in just above. I'm not going to let it break that wick. But if we close right here or above on IBIT, we'd be holding VWAP and breaking trends. So this reload either we get to the low, which is back down at like 49.25, like 87 something. I think it's like 87.2 or something like that on Bitcoin. If we can do that, then I can probably get back in under the trend line. If we hold above the trend line, I jump out and wait for the high of the day. Alibaba just continues to slowly grind higher on trend. It hasn't broken the top just yet. But I didn't show you guys a 15-minute. I don't think I showed a 15-minute chart of Alibaba. That's my bad. So Alibaba holds on to 147. It's trying to fill in this gap. The prior high would be like a 149 and then a 149.5. So I'm sitting in front of 149, and I want to buy on the trend line as long as it's able to hold. So let's see what happens over there in Baba Land and IBIT. But again, if you're looking for silver, down 9%, almost 10, filling in the gap. The initial bounce, like the only bounce that it had was off the prior highs, going back to, I guess that'll be Christmas Eve, and it just couldn't break out. So it followed through a little bit, but wasn't able to break out. But that's the only spot. Once it was underneath, you're not even looking for that bounce. Probably another $1 or so until it gets to that Thursday low on SLV. Yeah, just about almost exactly $1. Just be patient with that if you're looking to buy the dips here. Yeah, it's been a rough one. Adara?
10%.
Update here on the geopolitical front. Here is the Nasdaq. Of course, we had earlier reports that there was an attack from Ukraine on Putin's residence. Now, we actually do have Zelensky of Ukraine saying, quote, "This is a lie." So interesting look here for this geopolitical story. It looks like this previous headline is being refuted by the leader of Ukraine himself. Back to you.
Yeah, probably a liar. I think the market would be down a little bit more than that. Yeah. But yeah, man, we should have just shorted silver to begin with. I know Neil just talked about it, but what a good trade that was for anybody that was able to find and hammer that one. Damn it. It is like just We had wrote down 69.50, man. We got to 69 there in the pre-market, and then it was whoops a daisies to the downside, and we haven't really been able to catch a bid since. So not to beat a dead horse, but there goes silver. Wow, crushed right there. We can have a look at gold, same kind of way, but not down 10% there either. Boeing, we talked about diversifying a little bit of your portfolio heading into the new year, as I think it's not going to be the same kind of a year for Nasdaq as it was this past year. Okay, Boeing chart not working. I still like Marvell, of course, as we talked about that. Let's go over and have a quick look at gold, GLD, and then we can look at copper as well, just to see what exactly this is happening in this market right there. There's gold down 5%, silver down 10%, COP X over here down probably the 5 or 6% as well. Yeah, there it is, down 5%. So just following out with our friends over there, gold, silver, palladium, all getting hit right now. Google just showed up. So this Google might be a name. Okay, there goes Google taking out day's high. So wow, what a rally that was, from 311 up to 313, almost in a straight line there for Google, as it's not really bucking the trend. The futures still look like they want to do something here, and that is hang out. So we'll see if the futures take out those levels. But there goes Google right back up to highs. So congratulations on that one as well. Some of the more recent IPOs, we did have Medline, didn't do anything there on Friday. It just paired off and was not a imbalanced trade, but Medline there, downside here. First real red day for this most recent IPO. Yeah, the metal mining plays probably down. We can check out for copper with FCX looks like it's going to be downside as well. Barrick Gold down 4%. Barrick Gold is just symbol B, so I could see all of these names probably getting hit today because, you know, they're up huge when the market goes, but when the market fades, you could see they also have that play back in as well. Wow, Barrick actually covering up the whole last week today, all the way back to $42. So we can wait to hear more about this one from Raheem, but there goes Barrick Gold to the downside. Yeah, it looks like it wants to get even lower right now on symbol B, Barrick.
Yeah, GDX is looking like it's primed for, I mean, again, the GDX is the gold miner ETF, so we've looked at gold specifically, but the GDX, if you close right here today, I should always say stop myself saying this has already happened, because it hasn't technically. But the uptrend that you've been on, in theory, if we close right here, is going to be broken and a fail of the prior high. So look, I think you could easily be pulling back into, like, you could get down to like 79 or 80 on GDX, and then you'd be back at the 50 period moving average. That's another $5, $6 from here. So like, these names have so much more to go in terms of a pullback or profit taking. Like, look how parabolic. Like, SLV was 50% from the end of November to Friday. So this pullback is relatively healthy. Like, you got to have something in terms of dips. You can't go parabolic upside forever. Nothing goes parabolic upside forever. And if something does, then, you know what goes parabolic up forever? Money printing. That's the only thing that actually has that kind of a sustained chart to the upside, which is crazy, would be the amount of money that we print in the world. But pretty much everything else has to have these kind of questions. And even then, you have that with the money supply, and that's why we get recessions and all that. So yeah, we've been going parabolic for sure. And I think it's just relatively healthy. Tomorrow will be a really good test for silver. If it's not able to have a green day, then you'll potentially have the first back-to-back red days in the space in at least about a month. So right, Bob was trying to hold on to this trend. I'm going to reload if it closes above the trend line again, but I had to jump out of I, but I did not reload this because we already got it under trend line, and it tried to break down underneath, but now you've closed breaking this downtrend. So I'm out of IBIT till either it gets to 50 or maybe resumes underneath the volume weighted average price. So I might never be back into this name. Entirely possible. The only other thing that's interesting to me right now is Intel. We took the one curl, but this is looking very strong relative to the overall market. Still holding resistance up at the highs, up 1%. There was a positive story here, at least in theory. There is one. Obviously, we know Nvidia has taken a stake in them. There was some negative rhetoric around, I guess, the yield on their own chip fabs, and Nvidia saying, hey, they're not there yet, so they had to pause testing. And then they had the U.S. government, or at least the Commerce Department, saying that Intel is not too big to fail. That was last week. Today, it's actually up 1%. Looking pretty strong. I mean, relative to the other chips, I should say. Because you got Nvidia down 1.5%, you got AMD down, but Intel up 1%. I'm not going to fight this one. I want to make sure it's putting in lower highs before I get any kind of short into that name.
You make sure that you guys, check out our subscriber count right here, 548,000. So get involved, man. Hit the subscribe. See if we can get to 550. There's 7,500 of you watching, and if I just do the simple math right here and I go and we figure out how many of you are not subscribed. So if you just hit the subscribe button right now, we can get to 550. Likes are fine. 1,000 likes, we get a lot of likes. But let's just tell, YouTube what's good. 550. So if you guys hit the like button and the subscribe, and that's how you get involved with our chat. And so we always do see here. Yeah, see right here, Vizbot, Tesla back at 468. We're going to short that again. Yeah, good look on that one. 1320 Wolf has been in here. Mike P. DeRider, everybody that we've seen many, many times. Many of you guys are even $5 members. Anybody in the green, we see you guys. For $5, you get Sharif's morning note as well, and that could be all part of it. So shout out to Pops Mafia. There's David. What's up, David? Okay, and that's it. He's going into IBIT and Ethereum, he says right now. ETHA. He's going into them.
Okay.
Right there. So David says, all right, that's it. Let's go. As the market's just pulling back just a little bit, it was a couple good outs that we had, man. I mean, look at these outs, like the TQs. Couldn't be happier with some of these outs. We waited for the low of the day. That came through, and then we just punched out the last bit at 50. So that was a good breakout. And then look at Tesla, man. That out right there at 464 was pretty good. But there we are, right back at the 200 period moving average. Hard to say that I don't like Tesla up here right now. I just don't want to really give back. I mean, we've made money on it, and I wouldn't give back that much, but any kind of a losing trade that we put on is giving back some cash. But we're right back into this area. 468, don't mind that as a short area. So potentially, yeah, Tesla short. Good call out there in the chat by you, Vizbot, man. You nailed that one. Tesla, 468. The other name that's a cult-like following here is Palantir. So that's to the downside today as well. And that's a huge bounce off 183. Wow, that just bounced off $3 right there to the upside. So Tesla's a $400 stock and bounced $3. This is a $180 stock and bounced $3. So I think there's a lot of strength in Palantir if the market gets going. Let's not be too shy about trading some PLTR.
Yes, sir. And if you're looking at Palantir or any other symbol, you might want to do so. I still have that 22%
get that off.
subscribed. Oh, that's all right. You might want to do so with a reliable platform. Whether it's simply back testing your strategies, forward testing your strategies, using tick replay to specify your entries and exits or get better at specifying your entries and exits, looking at level 1, level 2 depth. It could be as simple as looking at a 5-second chart. That's a valuable thing, and certainly you want to make sure your data is reliable. eSignal gives you that, and you know what? It's still free for 1 month, everybody. See, they're waiving fees for 1 month so that you can try it out. Reliable quotes. If the markets are open, then their quotes are good. I can't remember the last time. I actually can't remember the last time they were down. Your internet goes down, I guess you don't have a connection, but then you got other problems there. You can hook it up to multiple brokers and trade directly through eSignal if you want, or you can just use it as a trading platform. Oddly enough, the last chart I had, I still have my HYMC up to remind myself on the monthly. Remember this thing? Mm-hmm. Yeah, like this really pulled back, but on the monthly, I know we have some viewers that are involved in this. That 30 breakout still potentially good. Obviously, this would not be having a good day today because the miners have not been strong. You've seen what's happened to gold and silver. I'm actually a little bit surprised that HYMC is only down 13%. If you think about it, the upsize moves that it had when we were breaking out were pretty impressive. So this isn't all that bad, relatively speaking, but down 13% here with a lot of the other mining names, unfortunately. So yeah, it has not been a good day overall for the miners. I just jumped out on Bob. It's going to bounce off VWAP, but I mean, it is bouncing off VWAP, but the way I see it, I'm long because it was holding the trend line. And the second it breaks underneath the trend line, I'm going to jump out and look for the next opportunity. And possibly we could get some guidance with that by looking at what sectors are relatively strong and relatively weak at the desk with Adara.
I'm going to start with the sectors that are relatively strong because there actually are a handful of them. Energy, minerals on watch here. XOM leading this group, but all of the sector, very green. Utilities also pretty strong here. Again, energy, minerals going to be on watch as we get these ongoing geopolitical conflicts with now Russia and Ukraine potential peace deals heavily coming into question. Consumer non-durables doing pretty well. Health technology has some strength, specifically from the leaders in this sector. Industrial services doing okay, and communications, bright green from all three of these names. Now, if we move to the weaker sectors, these become a lot easier to spot. Non-energy minerals, we have Newmont down here, almost 7%. Producer manufacturing, red. Consumer services, red, with RCL and LVS continuing to sell off. So a lot of these entertainment and vacation type plays not faring too well today. Finance, really weak, coming off of an incredibly strong performance during last week of trading. And electronic technology, pretty red. And tech services, interesting here. Google, Microsoft, both relatively flat, but Oracle, Palantir, AppLovin, all really weak. AppLovin down about 3% here. So it's not going to be the leaders that are dragging down the market, especially in this tech sector. But again, some of these smaller but still significant plays. If we go to electronic technology, though, just to touch on this again, Nvidia, very weak in the sector and leading this group to the downside as far as it looks like. Back to you.
Yeah, you'll have Obi and Sharif coming through at 11 o'clock, so that should be exciting. So we'll wait to see what they are willing to trade and what they're looking at as well there today. Some of the lower float names, like a Mask, was moving around today as well. So 3E Technologies, wasn't this 40 or 50 cents earlier? No, 32 cents. Okay, so you know, that's faded out just a little bit here today. Not a whole heck of a lot, but we'll wait to see if Mask wants to continue its move there one way or the other. This is what's showing up on my hot list right now. Is that Denny's? DENN? Is that something going on there?
Yeah, they're
yeah, Denny's though. Corporation. Yeah, okay, so yeah, there's nothing.
Okay,
I don't know why that's there. Maybe oh yeah, recent volume spikes right there on Denny's hitting our hot list, but that doesn't look like that's anything to talk about. So we will wait on that one. Beyond Meat, moving around 87 cents, BYND. Just have a quick little look here. These are just what's hitting on our scanners, brought to you by Netflix. I just saw Netflix on there, brought to you by eSignal. So Tesla making moves, Nvidia, we've talked about that. Gold in there, breaking through 400, yuck on that. Silver, wow, man, what a call on that silver short, but hi-ho, we don't have it. SLV just hitting lows again. I guess that's why that's on there. Boy, oh boy, man, when these things get going, they ever get going right there. SLV down now 9. Oh, Orbs, that was another one. ORBS, we had seen that there. 8 co-holding. We had saw that last week, I believe. Yeah, Orbs, big move to the downside, and now today getting hit to the, or not getting hit, but going back up to the upside. We like that play here for Orbs, so we'll wait to see if there's anything brewing over there as well. But that's just one play. Sidu, oh yeah, Sidious, S-I-D-U, another name that should be popular to Neil and I, as we talked about this one many times as well.
That's up 20%.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with this one right there, up 21% again. As this is another one of those space names. We continue to look at space names. ASTS.
Got smoked on Friday.
Yeah, that was not a good day on Friday, up to 350, back down into $2. I believe that was a name that, yeah, again, we were sort of looking at that to wait to see.
They did an offering.
Yeah, they did an offering, yeah, down at $1.62 or something, $1.65, I believe. So, yeah, that name's not doing too much. Oh, wow, a positive name today, Micron in the space. There goes Micron. That's cooking to the upside as well. So yeah, a bunch of stuff happening here on the hot list, but a lot of them are just the usual suspects. Micron days high. Oracle was getting hit early, yeah, down to 195. It broke to 192.50. So that's yet again another play down there for ORCL as that continues to get hit there as well. So I don't know, man. People saying Neo's waking up. I mean, that's what we want. We want stocks to start to wake up a little bit here so we can trade them.
Yeah, good 3.5% for Neo here. It looks like it had a good day on Friday as well. Back above $5. Congratulations, Neo. This might be breaking out again. We always talk about support and resistance. Like sometimes you look at a level previously and you're like, oh, that's a support level. Like I can look at a chart and say, hey, look at $3.40 here on Neo. And you can anticipate when it gets there. Or you can just see it accumulate at 5. Now it's starting to break out above $5. So when you see that, the last time it did this kind of a setup, you had 2 or 3 days out of it, and then it kind of consolidated. Then you had 2 or 3 more days to the upside. It consolidated longer, and then you had another couple of days. So it was upward trending. So I like this on NIO. Neo's just a good trading vehicle at times. I don't know. I'm not really much into the whole battery swap technology and whether they're going to be a winner. I'll let smarter people decide that. I wouldn't invest in them myself. Then you got the China risk. You have a lot of other things associated with that. Hard enough business to be in. But certainly closing above this 200 period, I would favor the long. on a swing basis. Maybe even, you know what? No, I can't say buy dips this afternoon because it's a Chinese ADR. So usually you want the first move. If you don't get the first move, then kind of stay away. They go to sleep in the afternoon. But yeah, good looking day for an NIO. Obviously, remember in about 1 week, you're gonna at the beginning of every single month you get deliveries data, right? So if you're looking to swing this or any Chinese EV company, just know that in a few days you're gonna get that monthly data and it's likely to gap. But I do like that $5 area hold. When other people are accumulating a stock, I just think it's a reasonable area if you're gonna take a trade. Just take it off that level, because if it breaks, you break 475, you can just jump out. If we close the 200 period moving average today, then it's a solid swing. You have to hold it through deliveries is the only downside in my opinion.
Yeah, for NIO, yeah, good look there. Good talk about NIO. We saw FXI down today, so no surprise here that some of these Chinese names are getting hit just a little bit. I don't know, man. And we saw oil, CL. We'll go with the February contract right now. That's up a little bit here today as well, up 2.5%. So, fill up those tanks if you start seeing them pretty cheap. Up another 3% today goes oil. So we'll wait for nat gas inventories. We'll be on Wednesday, which will be a full day. Yeah, so that'll come out on Wednesday there. But this is what we're looking at. Nice little bottom there, $55, $56. Just made last week there on oil. It looks like darn it, man, that Tesla. And I know, there's no trades on the board for Tesla right now. And we talked about that short at 468 there. That would have been so sweet because that reload was right there, man. We could have had 468 short, brought that right back into 466. So a good trading opportunity that we miss out there on Tesla. So yuck, my bad on that one. Should have had a little bit more action there on TSLA to the short side. So missed out on that. And womp womp on TSLA. But nice downside play there on that move. But other than that, SoFi, I think you're we don't have the position board again, but we do. No one's in position. So unless you're not in Alibaba still. Okay, yeah, so that's out. SoFi right back to the 200. This looks to me like a decent trade, but there goes the futures falling back in again. And that we could have reloaded everything. Right there at VWAP, that could have been a trade. This came up to 54.80. You guys are yelling at me for that one as well. Meta's been on a move lower, I thought. Yeah, not really, 660 right here, so kind of flat-ish. Did have a move earlier, and that pulled back. Some of the other Mag 7 names, Microsoft, Fortin, still not above 500. I don't think we want to look at that until that winds up happening here on Microsoft. So right into there, 500 is now your 50-period moving average. Oracle, Soxel, Boeing. What else? You guys, TSLQ, yeah, Microsoft's starting to dig into the ETFs. Yeah, I know the Qs are at VWAP. We know that. We should have shorted that. Marathon Digital, some of these crypto names, that's below $10 now. Oh my gosh, Marathon Digital now below $10 as
That's
well.
That's nasty.
Right there, yeah, down 7. This one could be at a good level to buy though, man. I mean, we looked at $10 before. This has bounced off of here a couple times. So with the halvening and everything is becoming more and more expensive to mine for crypto now, energy-wise. So I don't know if this name is done or not, but $9.50, $10 on Marathon.
They picked the wrong time. I mean, the timing for...
They have an offering or something?
Well, no, for them it was, they went into well, they're also in the treasury game, right? Like accumulating as an asset, which the timing of it wasn't necessarily the best. We just broke trend on IBIS. Like I wanted to wait for this to break the trend again, so I'm on the offer, like you just put in these lower highs, but there's 1, 2, 3, and now you're breaking the trend line. Same thing happened on Intel, but the candles were pretty heavy when they broke these trends. Like this would be, load. Okay, there we go. When this broke this little uptrend, since our last entry in Intel, like look at how heavy, it's actually already at VWAP, so I'm not gonna chase that. Let's go to Adara. We've got money talk, see how the US dollar is doing while commodities get smoked.
Commodities, as we know, have not been doing very well today. Neither is the U.S. dollar. In fact, actually on the daily chart as well, we're still continuing to go that downtrend from that double top we made in early to late November. Lower highs, lower lows here for the DXY. Today, actually, as I mentioned, a little bit red, relatively flat, actually down about 0.1%. Low here is going to be 97.9, high of 98.1. And again, that local low that we've seen kind of continuing to show up as support resistance continues to be that level that we last hit on, it would have been Wednesday, around 97.7. So let's see how this goes here on the DXY, just a little bit of technical background. I want to talk here about the CME Fed Watch tool. We actually have the FOMC Fed meeting minutes from the December meeting, usually released on Wednesday. This week, though, maybe because of the shortened week, we're going to be having those released on Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern, so just over 24 hours from now. Again, ahead of these notes, what we're seeing here for that January Fed meeting in just under a month is going to be a very large likelihood of a rate hold. So again, 81.2% of participants expecting rates to be held in place. Another just under 20% saying we're going to have a 25 basis point cut. We did get some data today. Pending home sales, not a big move in the market, though. This number here, pending home sales, 3.3% versus 0.9% expected. So pending home sales, well above estimates for this most recent print. As we send you back to Sean and Neil.
And we're right back into the lows. It's the Nasdaq right back into the low of the day. The only things that have been, I guess, relatively strong here. You're going to see Micron trying to bounce off VWAP. So this is green. Micron's actually still holding green. So it looks like the old memory space is going to hold up pretty well. But I'm not even sure how long that can last. The way I see it, I don't care how strong you are in tech. If the Nasdaq breaks the low here, then you want to look for things that can play a little bit of catch up. So I'm starting to think if we break this low, I'm going to be looking for a Micron fade at some point underneath the volume weighted average price. That's assuming we actually break the low of the day. If we hold the low of the day, then Micron could easily remain strong. That's fair. I don't want to get too far ahead of myself and make the assumption that that is going to be the case. So yeah, the eyeballs are still going to be over on IBIT, which has now resumed its downward trend. So I'm going to be shorting this pop into 49.8, presuming that we actually get one. And yeah, we'll see. At this point, just want to be a little bit patient. The market holding the low for now.
This might be a good range trade here because Tesla just goes off the 200 period, then right into VWAP and on its way back upside again right there. I mean, what a good fallout there on the Nasdaq that just had happened. But I think we are going to be range bound for the majority of our day. SFTBY, SoftBank today goes out and buys DBRG, DataBricks or something like that. And you can see SoftBank today not doing anything, just making no move. So back and forth there for SoftBank. We'll wait to see. It's an all cash deal, so nothing to worry about right there. This is what DBRG, this is what they most recently bought out, just basically within the penny, not doing too much there. SoFi Robinhood, I don't know. Here we do have this stock visualizer that we really haven't been hitting up too much here today. So, oh yeah, Orbs. Okay, so we do have Sharif and Obi coming through in about 5 minutes. So Orbs is going to be one that's above $1, so we know that that's going to be a good level there. Sharif will explain his back and forth plays on some of those, and if he likes them, you'll hear about them. And SOPA as well, that's up 65%. So that's a name that I've heard the boys talk about a couple times. So get your SOPA and your shampoo and all that. I got some of that for Christmas, of course, we always do. And there's Sidhu, so that's another low runner there as well. And here's Micron. We'll light that stock up there as well. Mask not doing anything. It's up 35%, but it's only a $25 name. We talked about that a little bit in the pre-market.
25-cent name.
25-cent name, yeah. I wish.
If that gets to $25.
Well, it could on a 1,000-to-1 reversal.
Yeah, the only way is a reversal.
Which is most likely what's going to happen. And, of course, there it is right there. SLV, man, I love that it's actually silver. So right into there, $65. Down 9%. We see some people in the chat there. They've gone to their local pawn shop and bought some silver today. Hey, nothing wrong with that. If you want to hold the physical silver, why not? You can get it in SLV if you're trading stocks. There are ETFs that are double silver, triple silver. You can get bearish, bullish ETFs as well.
The miners.
Yep, yeah, a good one there. Copper is moving around today as well, down 5 or 6%, as is gold. But you know what? It's really just a call on the monetary system. We know how we worry about, Neil said, the one thing that just keeps on going upside. We talked about
just keep inventing money.
Yeah, the dollar there. Just can't get enough of that, apparently. But this is what we're talking about for January right now. It looks like, this is better. We have a chance that we get a little bit of a rate cut coming up in January. That's going to be January the 28th. We have a 20% chance there of a rate cut. Going to be very, very data dependent on that one. Yes, I can Ramin, but I got to call it up, so we'll do that in a minute. But there's 82% chance for a rate hike. Doing nothing right there. It's only a 20% chance that we do wind up getting that cut. So, if you are trading right now, it would be a good time to scan that QR code and talk about Trade the Pool. As rates become unchanged and uncertain, Trade the Pool is a great way to get involved in this market. You don't have to risk your own money. The fear of losing here is now gone. That's what keeps traders on the sidelines. Trade the Pool is transforming this with a limited risk trading model. You can now use funded capital while Trade the Pool absorbs your downside. This allows traders to focus on what matters: discipline, consistency, and growth. When you hit your profit target, this is juicy, you get 70% of your profit. So I think that's an awesome payout there. Go check them out. They are revolutionizing trading right in front of your face. It is I added that last part in. It is because you can't tell. It is Trade the Pool. Get involved with them ASAP, and figure out, if they're for you. They're not for everybody. We've sitting here trading on a prop floor for our whole lives, and we like it. So trading other people's capital allows you to use more shares. And sometimes do strategy, whole trading lives, allows you to do strategies that potentially you wouldn't be able to do on your own. So go check it out, Trade the Pool or Real Trading.
And Mark, my chart just asked, was like, can you go over Oklo? We got 2 minutes to go. Unfortunately, I can't say things that are very positive about Oklo. So it's down 3.5%. We talked about them in SMR on the back end of the trade. And this actually looks really bad, potentially, as you are at the 200 period moving average. The last time, now you got to zoom out, populate, so you can see the exact time last time. It doesn't really matter exactly the last time it was underneath the 200 period moving average. It's broken it very briefly back in April, but you got to go even further back since the last time it was under. And does it feel that this test of the 200 period is different from that one? I would think so, but really that's just because of the scaling of the chart. Like this went up 4x and back to the 200 period moving average. And then from there it went up 9x, I get it, but if you call this breakout, like right back into here, essentially went 2.5 times and you're back into this 200. I think if you lose the 200 period moving average on Oklo, I'm not sure how we're supposed to even pronounce that one. I really don't know. I think you're back to about 45 to 50 bucks. And that's legit. Like it could drop 33% if we lose the 200 period moving average. It's already fallen so far. There's no profits here. You're on the back end of the trade. Like this is the spot where either you get a relief bounce or you get, to me, a pretty hefty pullback. And I'm not saying that, like I'm not trying to be like Debbie Downer or like negative Nancy. I held on to SMR, and with plays like this, if I want to hold it for the long term, I sell enough on the way up that I'm playing with the house money, and it's just okay. That's where we're at. And you got to understand that. SMR doesn't make any money either. They don't have anything to sell yet. You need something to sell, and they don't yet. But they could get there, and I think that's the upside that people are looking for. So both these look incredibly weak. SMR broke the 200 period a long, long time ago, but Oklo, it's doing it potentially today. I shouldn't say it's already happened.
Yeah, I mean, Silverado, you're welcome. I put this up because I wanted to see like if how all these emojis would show up. So Silverado Blue, thank you for the kind words. I'm glad to be able to put a little bit of money, hopefully, in your pocket, as I know it worked out over here. So another great day of trading. You're about to have a lot of Obi. He's going to be here from now until
busy
Monday morning. So get ready there. It's 11 o'clock. Right now, we're completely flat, man. And Neil's got short IBIT. I'm flat on the day. We've hit our goal. It's been a good one. Everybody, be well, and I will see good trading today. I will see everybody. Neil will be back at 2. So never fear. You got that going for you. But I will not be. So Obi and Sharif right now. I'll see everybody back on Wednesday. Great job, Adara. Thanks so much today for everything. Fabian, Ramin, bang up job as per usual. Sharif in the morning. Great job. But here we go, man. It is Obi. It is Sharif. Thanks, Neil. Have a great time there as the Buffalo Bills will be fine, man.